A fantastic pre-season, like all clubs, but we really feel like we're in a better position going into the season. We've worked on a lot of things in our game, which are complemented by our fitness. We're obviously that sort of good nervousness to see how we go against North Melbourne today.
The commentary team upstairs was talking about how you always gather the players in the centre of the ground pre-match. You've done it again today, the start of a new season. What messages do you try and impart a couple of hours before the game?
Obviously it's just really the funnel effect of our week of just bringing it all together. So we obviously break into our lines. We go over our key focus in our lines, but from a strategy point of view, I talk to the players about making sure we're clear on what we're going after from stoppage or in-game moments, and just really narrow the focus so that when they go out and start, and along with Simo's message, that they're clear on what they need to get done, not only as lines but as a team. Try and just keep them settled.
Well, there were a few new players that probably need to be settled a little coming into this game. Can you give us a little bit of an insight into your two most recent draftees that will debut, Noah Long and Ruben Gibney? What can you tell us about them as they step onto the field for their first match?
Yeah, well, young Noah, sort of half forward, small forward, got great goal sense, has some really good footy smarts, uses the ball really well. He's just a ripping young man. A lot of character, as do small forwards. Ruben, he's an inside mid, can play half back. Played predominantly half back in his juniors, but we're sort of putting him into the midfield. So you'll see him play between on ball and half back today. But he's one guy, he's got elite endurance and elite speed, and he covers the ground so well for a guy in his first pre-season. So we're excited to see what he does. And obviously we got the other fellas in Jaden Hunt and Campbell Chesser, who's missed a lot of footy over the last, 4 years with COVID and injury. So we're just super excited that we got 4 new players coming to our side today.
How much has Campbell Chesser anticipated this day, given he came across to Western Australia during those COVID times, had to quarantine, and now is his opportunity finally in Melbourne to debut?
Yeah, it's exciting that he's debuting in front of family and friends as well. I think that's a great thing for him. He's had to go through a lot, not only before he came to West Coast, but obviously last year, missing the whole year. But what he is, he's a man of great character, showed great resilience. He's so dedicated and focused. And it's no surprise, with a modified pre-season, he's been able to get himself to where he is today and obviously debut.
And someone we also didn't see last year was Oscar Allen. How vital is it to have him in the forward line now?
Yeah, well, it's good. We were a bit concerned that we wouldn't have JD and Oscar in round one playing together. But, Oscar has had a fantastic pre-season. His pre-season probably started about 4 weeks before our 1 to 5 year players. So he's had a long pre-season. He's fit. He's super important to us up forward, and hopefully we can get the ball to him and he can kick a few goals for us today.
And moving on to the opposition, it is round one, but they've got a new coach. What are your expectations of the Alistair Clarkson-led Kangaroos today?
Oh, they'll be well disciplined, they'll be well drilled, and Clarko's resume speaks for itself. They're a young group looking to obviously go better than last year, just like us. So we expect a tough contest. I think they'll play with a bit of speed, a bit of flair, and should be an exciting game.
It's a big thing for us in Melbourne to have footy on a 37-degree day. Is this just a pre-season for you guys?
Yeah, well, this is just a standard day in Perth for us. It's actually a bit cool inside. Now, the boys were actually joking whether the roof was going to be open or closed and whether the air conditioner was on. But, no, I think it's great. The ground looks in terrific condition, nice and hard, and hopefully the ball travels fast.
So thanks, Jared. All the best today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lauren. Lauren Arnell catching up with Jared Schofield from the West Coast Eagles as both sides are out in the middle of Docklands. Lauren Borden, of course, going through their final preparations ahead of North Melbourne and the West Coast Eagles this afternoon. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Chappie and Hobart, who should I tip? I'm a West Coast supporter, but the match is in Melbourne. New coach for North. Eagles have a healthy list. 99% of them are on the park. Which way will it go? Well, Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke will provide the answer for you, Chappie.
Well, I'm going with West Coast today. I just think their team and their players in their team, as mentioned a little bit earlier, they're still of high quality. Now, Oscar Allen did not play much football at all last year. He takes now the mantle of Josh Kennedy, who had such a wonderful career for West Coast. You've still got Jack Darling down there, Andrew Gaff, he's been interrupted over the last couple of years now. You heard Jared Schofield talk there. They had 40 players to choose from, so they've finally got a healthy list back again, which is so important in modern football, particularly if you're a team towards that bottom end of the ladder. There's a critical mass of players that you can have out before your performance just starts to drop away, and then it drops away significantly. And that's happened to West Coast over the last couple of years. At this stage of the year, round one, having a healthy list gives you the absolute best opportunity to compete in the early rounds. West Coast have done that. Jared mentioned both Ruben Ginby and Noah Long. Both, Ruben first, he's a bull. This kid is an absolute bull. He will eventually play as that inside midfielder. He will be the replacement eventually for a Luke Shuey type. He's taller than Luke Shuey, but a left footer who's strong over the football, courageous, can kick a goal. And Noah Long's got all the tricks. He was a little bit injured last year in his top age year of under 18s for the Bendigo Pioneers. But plenty of tricks. You'll see him float up into the midfield at times, but high pressure, high speed. Think of a Brent Daniels who's played some really good football for GWS over the last couple of years. North Melbourne, on the other, what I'm most interested in is how Alistair Clarkson changed the style of their play. Clarkson, when he coached those great Hawthorn teams, they were well organised, well structured, and obviously well coached. Alistair was able to win games just purely through tactics and what he was able to do against an opposition to beat them. Ben Mackay is no doubt a big loss for him at centre-half back, but you now get the experience back of Ben Cunnington. We saw him come back last year, but he plays a full pre-season. He'll play that midfield forward role. Developing teams need senior leaders. They need really good senior leaders and directors out there. Cunnington, Jack Zeeble and the like are going to be so important for North Melbourne. Luke McDonald, the new captain. Jai Simpkin, who's still young, but now he's got some football under his belt. Those guys really have to perform, and then you want excitement out of those younger players week in, week out. I mentioned Harry Sheasel. He was drafted as a forward, but in the pre-season we've seen him play a bit of across half-back. So, does Alistair Clarkson play him across there to get him involved in the game early, to take the pressure off him of kicking goals? But then you look at Luke Davies-Uniacke, had a breakout year last season, became one of the premium midfielders in the competition. Can he go to another level now and be one of the absolute elite midfielders in the competition? Griffin Lowe comes over from Fremantle. They needed to restock through the back half of the ground. He's a great intercept mark, high endurance, high speed. How does he fit into the team? Nick Larkey. He's played his 70-odd games now of football. His 71. Kick bags are 6 and 7 in games. Can he go now and be a consistent 50 and 60 goal a season player for North Melbourne moving into the future? Tom Powell, another high draft pick, apparently had a big pre-season, put on plenty of weight. That's what interests me about these developing teams as such. Last night we see two teams right in the prime, right in the peak of their powers. West Coast, I'm probably, like I said, expecting to win this game, but I'm expecting improvement out of North Melbourne, Berkey.
I remember when Clarko took over at Hawthorn, and the style of football that they played was terrible to watch.
Yeah.
There was one game between Clarko and Ross Lyon. It's probably the worst game of football ever played. We had 3 goals each. He went really hard on the defensive structures of the game and built the team from there. So really interesting to see whether he's learnt from that or whether he still thinks that is the right method. So just the defensive way that North Melbourne attacked this game today will probably show the Clarko stamp. Todd Viney mentioned things like really increasing their horizons of what's possible, not to just compete against the West Coast, but at North Melbourne, we need to actually think we should beat West Coast. That should be the attitude that they bring to this game. So interesting to see how that plays out as well. But West Coast, for me, they're a bit of an enigma. Was last year, how close to true form was it? Are a lot of these players like a Shuey and a Hearn and a Darling, are they on that back end of the bell curve? Are they sliding off? Can they recapture that form and get back up again? And to me, that's the really interesting part. They've got these young blokes coming through, but Sheed and Gaff and even a Kelly, who played last year but didn't have the impact, where are they on that bell curve of your career? Are they on the back end? Because West Coast can't afford them to be. They need them to be pretty close to the top if they're going to be any factor this season. So really interesting game. Anyone's at the moment. Who am I going to tip? You're going West Coast, I'm going North.
Nathan Burke and Adam Ramanauskas with their assessments. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call all the action. Lauren Borden sitting in the front row of the grandstand. Lauren, temperatures expected around 37 degrees today. It thankfully is a little bit cooler than that, but we're expecting it's going to be hot under the roof.
It is Clinchy. It's already about 30 degrees in Melbourne at the moment. Like you said, the roof's closed like it has been for the last 4 years or so, but I think it might be worse. Even though you haven't got the glaring sun, it does get really humid and sticky under here, so a few industrial fans out at the moment for the benches. I'm not sure how much they'll do. It's just the one for both benches. It was nice to see Luke McDonald go in for the first toss as captain. He went in for this one, which he's now co-captaining with Jai Simpkin, but it was McDonald in for the first one of the season and he won, so it'll be North Melbourne kicking towards the Lockett end of the stadium today. So humid conditions might suit West Coast, but we'll see how North Melbourne fares as well today.
Thanks, Lauren. Looking forward to your contributions throughout the afternoon.
I need a new campaign manager about this roof. I've tried and tried and tried.
Yeah.
It's an overcast day outside. It's hot, yes. There's no chance of rain. It would have been a terrific atmosphere in here with this roof open today.
Not to be, Rama, and I don't think it's going to be in the future, unfortunately. So the roof is closed and the players are heading out into position. No late changes with Will Phillips, the sub for North Melbourne, Jack Petrocelli for the West Coast Eagles, and North putting up their heading to the left as we see it, which is the Arden Street end, according to them. So just a little bit of a kick from North Melbourne to get to Docklands. But the West Coast Eagles fans are at the other end with their cheer squad. A few of them might have made the trek, Ben.
Yeah, they had a charter flight, the West Coast Eagles, so their fans can fly on the same plane as the team, and saw Ruben Jimby's family were coming over with the team to watch his debut.
So it's North Melbourne and West Coast. Alistair Clarkson, his first game as coach of North Melbourne, hoping to begin the rebuild at North, and Adam Simpson hoping for bigger things in season 2023. Here we go, here's Ben Cameron.
Williams rises above Sherry, wins the tap down, straight to Kelly, handball back to Williams. The Eagles come away with it. To Gaff, back to Shuey, snaps the Eagles inside 50, and Sheasel, starting at halfback, he takes the defensive mark inside the defensive 50 for North. A few cheers from the North faithful. His kick is a little dicey, he's turned it over, and Cripps bobs up for the Eagles, marks it half forward, handball to Shuey running by, kicks long to full forward, Jamison goes up, can't take the mark, Sheasel's there to mop up, gives it off to Goda, his kick low down, mark unable to be taken, loose footy, Sheasel's there again, 3 early touches, gives it away to Curtis, he kicks into the middle of the ground for North.
Bouncing ball which sits eventually for Shields in his new colours, the former Hawk, tries to sock it away from O'Neill, sliding in Turner, got a touch, but O'Neill wins it for West Coast, hand pass to Cripps and it's smothered by McDonald. The co-captain involved and sees the ball out of play just below our commentary position.
Well, Sheasel involved early in this game, so couple of touches early in this game. You remember your first kick, Berkey? I remember mine. It went straight to your teammate, Robert Harvey.
Thrown back in, Sherry works his way to the front against Williams, wins down the tap to Davies Uniac, who has another go at it for North, dodging and weaving away from Shuey on halfback, turns and kicks inboard. A risky kick, but he's able to find Goda, who takes the mark at centre halfback for the Roos.
Goda kicks across defensive 50, bouncing ball here for Bonner, he's able to mop up, gives it off to Scott, who backfeeds a handball to Zeeble. Zeeble kicks to the wing, leading up. Good mark taken there by Comben. Just backward of halfway. City side of the ground here at Docklands. He kicks into the middle of the ground. Here's Sheasel again. He's been everywhere to start this match. Alongside the centre circles. He has it for North. Wants to drive them long inside 50. In the direction of Larkey. And he'll get a free kick. So Larkey to get it. The mark will be set 25 metres out, as good as directly in front. And a golden opportunity to kick the first goal of the season for North.
So the kick from Comben comes back into the middle of the ground to Sheasel. But that's the one where you want your runners going past, Berkey. I know they got a free kick here, Larkey, but you want your runners just streaming past. Give the handball receive, get it inside your forward 50 quick.
Kicked 6 goals against West Coast last year. He comes in and kicks the first today. North draw first blood. And after 2.5 minutes, it's North Melbourne 1 straight 6. West Coast yet to score. Harry Sheasel's been very busy early on. Adam Ramanauskas, Nathan Burke.
He has been very, very impressive start to the game. He's a good size, but unfortunately, the Academy Awards were last week, and he missed out on a little statue because he probably could have got one for that performance. There wasn't a lot of contact in the back, but the most important thing is he went back and he kicked the goal and made the most of it. So you get some and you don't get others. But Sheasel was a really good size coming off the half-back line and a couple of really clean possessions. That's 4 in the first couple of minutes of the game. It's a pretty impressive start.
Pick 3, Harry Sheasel for North Melbourne, 185 centimetres and 80 kilos. 3 touches and an inside 50 from Ajax and the Sandringham Dragons. Back in the middle of the ground, Sherry wins down the tap for North. Over the top of the footy, O'Neill tries to rip it out for the Eagles. Shuey emerges with it. Simpkin lays the tackle. Somehow got it to Kelly. Kicks around the body towards Ryan. Spoiled down by McDonald of North Melbourne. Trying to tap it to his own advantage was Gaff, but lost his footing. Turner for North. Quick hand pass to Shields, and now McDonald. Kick smothered by Gaff. Did well. Ball spills clear. Onto it, Davies Uniacke. He's locked up in a good tackle by Witherden. Ball underneath Cunnington. And Luke Shuey, and the umpire decides that's enough. He'll ball it up centre wing in front of the 2 benches. North Melbourne with the opening goal through Nick Larkey and lead by 6 points.
Umpire puts it up. Sherry lays it down. Shuey steals it for the Eagles. Runs straight into a tackle. Cunnington squeezes out a kick. High free kick. It's going to go the way of Cunnington. Davies Uniacke wanted to take the advantage. The umpire brings it back.
Looks good, Benny Cunnington. Looks strong, looks fit again.
Good to have him back. 2 games at the end of last year. Kicks high inside 50. McGovern in best position. Straight through his hands. Out the back. Barris is there to cover for the Eagles. Picks it up. Kicks back to the wing. Kelly with a big leap. Went a little early. Ball comes down at the back. Sheasel fires out a handball to Shields. North with it. McDonald kicks around the body. High ball towards half forward for North. The rucks are there. Sherry goes up and takes the leaping chest mark. He's got it 2 kicks from home.
Quick hand pass to Turner. Kicks to the pocket. Zerha turns around. Not intended for him. Hearn spoils it away. Kick just didn't quite have the height and the power to get to Larkey, who was on the lead, and a boundary throw in the left forward pocket for North Melbourne. Kangas by 6 points as it's tossed back into play. Sherry in front, wins down the tap. Cunnington, Jinby trying to break away through, doesn't get a disposal, it spills off Jai Simpkin and rolls out of play for a boundary throw in, right where the 50 metre up meets the boundary. North Melbourne in attack. It's the Roos by a goal.
Eagles in their gold jumper with the blue wings. North Melbourne in their royal blue and white stripes with the blue shorts as Sherry knocks it straight back to the boundary line, and we'll get another throw in.
Not sure why you would choose to put the umpires in blue also.
Powder blue.
Maybe a red might have been a more contrasting colour.
Larkey's goal, the only score through the opening 6 minutes. Williams works his way to the front, knocks it down, trying to come through Simpkin. Handball away to Sherry, off to Shield, snaps inside 50. Unable to take the mark, down there is Turner. Zerha swoops on the footy, off to Simpkin, snaps on goal. In the forward pocket, Comben picks it up, gets a handball away, but the Eagles are there. Duggan off to Witherden. His kick towards the D50 is marked by Shields. He juggles it 49 metres out on a 45-degree angle and points to the goal.
No, well, he won't have the distance. So this will get ready, get the tall timber down there for West Coast.
So Liam Shields, a triple premiership player at Hawthorn, 255 games. Brought across by Alistair Clarkson. A little stuttering approach, arcs out to the right, kicks it from 51, drives it on goal and misses to the left.
Got the distance.
Looking for the extra distance, just tugged it a little bit, 1-1-7 North after 7 minutes. West Coast yet to score.
West Coast a little bit frantic at the moment. They're just throwing the ball on the boot, enabling North to have multiple re-entries.
Ben Cameron, Matt Clinch, Nathan Burke and Adam Romanascus with you on a Saturday afternoon as Hearn brings the ball into the back pocket for West Coast. Kelly takes the mark, drives it up to the wing. Darley in the pack, couldn't take the mark at the very back. Picked up by Davies Uniacke. Hand pass to Zeeble, up towards half forward. Charging out Zerha, can't take the mark. Eagles have the numbers across half back. Witherden to Kelly. Gets the hand pass away. Gaff wants to come inboard. No options present. Hand passes around the boundary line to Kelly, to Darling. Now Gimby with some run. Gets between centre wing and half forward. Long towards Allen. Can't take the mark. Spoiled down at the back of the pack. Jones runs onto it and dribbles off the outside of the boot. Perfect spot for Jermaine Jones to read it exceptionally well and then finish with a dribbling into the open goal mouth. West Coast have their opening goal. They're 1 straight 6 to North Melbourne 1-1-7. 8 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
It's the ball movement, I think, here, Berkey. Gimby involved in this passage of play. Good contest by Oscar Allen. And then ground level with Jermaine Jones there. There was 2 of them. You had Liam Ryan and Jones there who could have raffled that crumb. So that's the challenge for North Melbourne. You get yourself high up. You're winning that territory battle early in the game. You're feeling confident. Then West Coast, they've only had, it's only their 3rd inside 50. North Melbourne had 5 to start this game. But so at times just goes down there quickly. You've got to be on all the time defensively in this game.
Bounce back in the middle, not a great one. Williams wins the tap, but Simpkin sharks it for North, gives it off to Davies Uniacke, drives it long in the Zerha direction. Comden keeps his feet out the back. Larkey can't quite gather. Going in, Comden again, he loses it. Duggan goes in for the Eagles, dragged down in a Stevenson tackle. And we'll get a ball up 15 metres out from the attacking goals for North.
Larkey had to let his teammate through there, Berkey. His teammate's going towards goal.
Sherry tries to take another ruck, now feeds the hand pass away. Power with nowhere to go. Gaff and Duggan lock him up. Still only 25 metres out from the North Melbourne goal. Roos by a point. Sherry tries to use his body to create some space. He runs into Gaff though as soon as he picked him up. Gaff just holds it to his chest and the umpire says, I'll ball it up once more.
Alistair Clarkson coaching from the bench. Sherry slapping it down. Coming through, Jimby runs into a tackle, might have been caught holding the ball. The umpire lets them play. The Eagles trying to work it out. Greenwood fighting after it. He's dragged down in a tackle. And we'll get another ball up, 12 metres out from North's goal. Sherry and Williams lock up. Knocked down, Greenwood gets a 5 metre kick away. McGovern bumped off the ball. The Eagles with it, going in Sherry, close to the line, and Hearn content to step it across. North Melbourne 1-8, the Eagles 1 straight 6, 10 played opening term.
Good forward pressure there by the Kangaroos. Locked it in, multiple ball ups, and you never know what happens from that. You get a free kick, a quick snap out, so good forward pressure.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Shannon Hearn brings the Eagles back into play, short to Witherden.
That should be 50.
Simpkin was trying to hold him up and wasn't releasing him immediately.
Well, you're not allowed to hold him up.
No.
If they take the mark, you're not allowed to put a hand on him.
Witherden looks boundary side and spots up Jeremy McGovern. Speaking of players, great to see back fully fit. So important for the West Coast Eagles. Rolls the dice into the middle of the ground. Barris takes the mark, feeds it around the back to Dom Sheed, who wants to switch it out to left half back. Duggan has space, takes the mark and plays on. Looks up the outer wing where Darling presents, takes the mark, feeds the hand pass back to Duggan, who kept running. Hand passes inboard. Cripps can give it back to Duggan. A third involvement. Now long inside 50. Allen out the back. Flies, can't take the mark. Griffin Lowe gave away the free kick though. He tried to get back in the end. He probably made front on contact. And maybe just didn't disguise it well enough. And Oscar Allen, from a couple of metres out, will be able to put through the Eagles' second.
Well, it was a good passage of play there, particularly by Liam Duggan. He continued to follow up with the handball. Missed O'Neill as that short, but here Oscar Allen gets an easy goal now.
Didn't feature at all in 2022. Oscar Allen's on the board in 2023 and puts the Eagles in front by 4 points. They're 2 straight 12 to North Melbourne 1-8. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
I'm going to point the finger at Jaden Stevenson here because West Coast Eagles had the ball pretty much close to the boundary on their half-back line. The North Melbourne players had set up a zone right across the ground. That's their style of defence, a really tight zone. Stevenson allowed his player to get to centre half-back to receive the ball. and he didn't close him down. And he, from there, it just went around the outside of the ground, overlap handball, quick kick to the goal square, free kick. If Jaden Stevenson plays his spot in that zone, that kick through the corridor doesn't happen. They don't get a goal.
Sherry wins the tap down, straight to Greenwood, handball away to Cunnington, who bustles through, gets it off to Scott. No, he doesn't. He's pinned for holding the ball. So the free kick will go to the West Coast Eagles. Xavier O'Neill, no, he'll throw it away to Jaden Hunt. So the former D in the middle of the ground. Whacks it long inside 50. Ryan goes high, slips out the back. Allen's onto it. He misses. He misses from the goal square. He was into the open goal and missed it.
He almost missed his foot with the ball.
You will not get an easier chance. I can't get my head around that. 1-13, 1-8. West Coast lead.
Jack Darling for the hand pass, could have dribbled it through himself. In the end, he made a meal of it. Sheasel with the long kick in for North Melbourne. A chance for West Coast to reload and go again. Cole with the hand pass to Sheed. He'll go back to Witherden. Centre wing, looks up. Ginby gets a touch.
Sometimes you just got to laugh in football. And I think that's all Oscar Allen can do at the moment.
Ruben Ginby looks to drive the West Coast Eagles into attack. Ryan tried to set himself in from the side, dropping the mark with Sherry. Great rundown tackle. Luke McDonald was able to get Noah Long, who just about thought he was clear. Dragged down and penalised, holding the footy. McDonald to take it in the left back pocket. West Coast by 5 points.
Kicks across the goal mouth, finds Bonner. His kick a little dicey, sets a task there for Scott. He snaps around the body, but can only find Ryan for the Eagles. And he's paid the mark. Spilt it under some pressure, but the umpire says he had enough. So Ryan just pokes it short. Cripps will bob up, and he takes the mark. 45 metres out, 45-degree angle, left half forward for the Eagles.
He's always so lively inside forward 50. If you're playing on Cripps, you've got to expect him to lead and lead continuously into holes, because he just wants the ball and he wants to kick goals. That's what he does, and that's what he's in the team for. And give him half a chance and he'll do it. So the fact that you let him run straight past you into a hole, it's Clarko, not the type of defence that I'm sure he wants.
So Cripps boots the ball from 47. He drives it on goal. It's across the face. A minor score. The Eagles 2-2-14, North 1-8. Quarter hour mark of this opening term here on Grandstand AFL. Round 1, Saturday Arvo footy.
Zeeble brings North Melbourne back into play. Short to the back pocket where Scott takes the mark, returns it back to Jack Zeeble. And the former captain has it 25 metres out from his defensive goal. He's shown he can play at both ends. Kicks out in front of Sheasel, who doesn't have to break stride, and he marks it left half back. Another touch coming up. Possession number 7 as he plays on. Around the mark of Oscar Allen, drives it up towards Larkey, who sets himself. Didn't hang on to the mark at the last moment. Kelly now lays the tackle. Hand pass to Shields. Turns and loads up inside 50. Hearn doubling back. Could have been collected. Yes, free kick going the way of the West Coast Eagles as Cobden came late, but
It's not a free kick.
yeah, in the eyes of the umpire impeded. Hearn can go short. Cole takes the mark. West Coast by 6 points and a 50-metre penalty.
You're allowed to make body contact in a marking contest. And that's what Cobden, you want him to do as a key forward.
Tom Powell didn't stand, so is paying the ultimate price.
So Cole marched into the middle of the ground. Kicks long inside 50 in the Williams direction. Over the back it goes. North will get back under pressure, able to gather at Bergman. He loses it out of bounds and will get a throw in deep in the right forward pocket for the Eagles. Lauren Borden downstairs.
Oscar Allen's just come to the bench, got a few pats on the back after that, and his chance from Drew Petrie and Petra Charlie just to say you'll have another one.
Drew Petrie Cup today. Williams in front, slaps it down. Coming through Davies Uniacke, gets a handball away. McDonald unable to gather it, close to the boundary line. Goda, handball away, fumbling it out. There is Taylor. He'll be given a little bit of leeway. We'll get a throw in right alongside the right hand behind post in the right forward pocket for the Eagles. They lead by 1 goal, 2-2 to 1-2.
Thrown back into play up against the right behind post. Williams went early. Greenwood doing the ruck work for North. It comes down the way of Davies Uniacke. Back to Greenwood, who gets a clearing kick. A chance for Compton, who fights with Jamison. The two big men going for it. And Turner stuck underneath. And the umpire's going to pay hold of the ball. A North free kick. And Turner will take it on the very bottom of the pack. Was Cole. Feeds the hand pass around the back to Taylor, who didn't have to break stride. His kick, though, was a poor one as McGovern takes the intercepting mark for the West Coast Eagles. Springboards to half forward. Sheed had to wait, knowing he'd get contact, and McDonald came in and laid the bump as Dom Sheed marks on his chest. Right half forward for the West Coast Eagles. Looks to come inboard to Shuey. He marks at the edge of the centre square, and now the precise kick into the pocket. Darling the target and reaches up over the top of Griffin Logue to take the mark.
And precise it was. He's right tucked up again on that boundary there in the right forward pocket. That was a beautiful low spearing kick. Didn't give Griffin Logue a chance.
With no Josh Kennedy now, all eyes are on Oscar Allen and Jack Darling to lead the West Coast attack for this year and for the future. Darling with 34 goals, 15 last year. This is as tough as they get. On the angle, kicks across the body. Not a bad effort. Superb finish. Darling with his first, and the Eagles have kicked the last three. And they've got a bit of momentum here at Docklands. They lead by 12 points. 3-2-20 the Eagles to North Melbourne 1-2-8. 18 minutes gone. Opening term on Grandstand AFL. Nathan Burke and Adam Ramanauskas are your experts.
We saw quite a few goals kicked from the boundary line last night, and they were outstanding, but certainly none better than that. A good 35 metres out, banana straight through the middle. So Jack Darling's going to be an interesting player this year. No Kennedy, who would always get the number one fullback. So does the number one fullback go to Oscar Allen, or does he go to Kennedy? How does he cope with that? So, go to Darling. How does he cope with that? So it's going to be a big year for him. If West Coast are going to be competitive most often, he needs to have a great season, more than 34 goals.
So the Eagles with the last three. Back in the middle, Jimby gathers on the bounce. His handball chopped off. Davies Uniacke back to Cunnington. Kicks north towards half forward. And the Eagles will take the mark back there through Hunt. Gives the handball away to Sheed. Off to Hunt. Gets a handball out towards the wing. City side of the ground. Witherden to Jimby. Loops it over the top. Handball knocked down. Well done there by Goda. North quickly back the other way. Off towards Taylor, who kicks inside 50. And the mark taken defensively by the Eagles' reigning best and fairest Tom Barras.
That's two with Curtis Taylor now. Previous passage of play went straight to McGovern. Now this one to Tom Barras.
McGovern and Witherden with the 1-2. McGovern now with the kick up to the wing. Long couldn't take the mark. Greenwood intercepts for North. Moves it to half forward. Stevenson marks. Has Larkey on in the pocket. Can the kick get to him? No. Good desperate couple of metres from Jeremy McGovern, who got there with his fingertips to take the mark. West Coast by 12 points. Goes short to Witherden. Still trying to find a spot in West Coast best 22. Barras on the last line receives at the top of the defensive goal square.
Tight ropes the boundary line, but finds Duggan, who goes with the low ball towards the wing. In front, O'Neill can't take the mark. Arriving there is Davies Uniacke. His handball picked off there by O'Neill. The Eagles quickly down this city wing of the ground. Cripps has to pick up a handball low down. Backtrack to Gaff, who gives it off to Hunt. He'll kick the Eagles long inside 50. Trying to get a run at it, Allen. Can't quite. Long's there to rove it. Handball back to Allen. Gets a handball away. Cripps comes in. Greenwood picks it up for North. Gives it off to Bonner. Cunnington. Back towards Greenwood. Now Stevenson.
Stevenson looks up to the wing where Larkey's on a long lead. He marks on his chest. He's got a one-on-one inside 50. He's just spotted Compton, who came on from the bench. He marks it left half forward. Drives it long inside 50. Davies Uniacke got rid of his opponent. Shoved him into a teammate. Now to finish on the right he does. Ginby was shoved into Witherden, and that cleared the path for LDU to do the rest. An important goal for North Melbourne after West Coast have kicked three on the trot. Closes the margin back to 6 points. West Coast 3-2-20 to North Melbourne 2-2-14. 21 minutes gone, opening term on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
Well, Comben came off the bench, so that's what set it all up, because he just drifted into a little bit of space. Probably could have went for goal, but saw Davies Uniacke. Smart body play by Uniacke. Pushed the younger Ginby into his teammate with it, and then kicks in a nice uncontested goal there. But it's a good lesson for young Ginby. He's going to get tested a lot if he's playing in the midfield, by more experienced midfielders dragging him forward and testing him out.
Rocket bounce back in the middle. LDU, most Brownlow votes of any North player last year with 8. Umpire tosses it aloft. Staying down, Sherry. Able to take it. Give a handball away towards Simpkin to Zerha. Kicks long towards full forward. Looking for his mate Larky. Barris outpoints him, takes the defensive mark in the left back pocket. I'm a very reliable, resolute defender for the Eagles, Barris. It's a high ball on that left leg towards the wing. Over the back of the pack it goes. Loose footy. Simpkin slaps it away. Powell gets a handball away. The Eagles are able to steal it back. Through Hunt to Gaff to Williams. Now with Kelly. All hand passes. There's a free kick. It's going to come back. It'll go to Kelly for the Eagles. We'll have it backward of halfway on the City wing. West Coast lead by 1 straight kick.
Kelly comes inboard for Jermaine Jones, one of the Eagles goal scorers, alongside Allen and Darling, Davies, Uniac and Larky for North Melbourne. All the way back to Barris, who marks inside the defensive 50, and out to Cole. Right half back for the Eagles. Trying to take their turn to control the possession as they work it up the wing. Chesser gets his first touch as he marks centre wing in front of the West Coast bench. Kicks up towards half forward. Griffin, Logan, McDonald both there. Spoil it away for the Roos. Running onto it long for the West Coast Eagles. And offhand it goes out of play. Is it just the height for me, or has Campbell Chesser had a cut before round one?
He's gone and got a little trim. Look good when you're nationally televised. Umpire spins it back in at half forward now for the Eagles. Sherry.
Never know who's watching, Benny.
Zerha gets a handball away to Sherry, who's tackled to ground by Shuey. Shuey and Sherry. And we'll get a ball up right on the arc of 50. The Eagles 3-2-20.
It's always interesting the start of the season, Berkey. Players, they've got nice suntans and the like. Put a bit of oil just to make those muscles look a little bit bigger. Never know. Oh, he's in trouble.
Oh, this is not good.
This is...
Here for Sherry.
Sherry, yeah.
He looks like he's in real discomfort.
Tried to get up and then... ankle or knee.
Yeah, it's a leg. He tried to put weight on a leg and just was no good and fell back down to the ground. Ankle he's pointing at.
Yeah, it's like a big tree going down in the forest when he tried to get to his feet, and he's in a lot of pain as well.
Structurally, this really hurts for North Melbourne.
Oh yeah, rolled his ankle in a Luke Shuey tackle.
It'll most likely mean Compton has to come up into the ruck. And then all that does is then Larky's one out really with Barras and McGovern moving into later into the game. So it just makes it structurally difficult for North Melbourne.
So they're calling for the stretcher here. No, they did initially call for it, and they've elected against it. He's been helped to his feet, and he's going to be aided off under the assistance of the trainers. Gets a pat on the tummy from Luke Shuey. But that does not look good. That looks like almost your typical syndesmosis, doesn't it? Or maybe even...
Hope not.
Yeah, I hope not.
If they have to use Larky in the ruck, at the moment, North Melbourne, one of their issues is that ball going inside 50.
Yes.
Just missing targets, not making some great choices. If you take Larky out of that area, players are going to be streaming through the middle and they'll be looking for Larky. And if he's not there, it just puts that added element of doubt in their mind. Who should I kick it to? And it's going to make things far more difficult if Larky has to come up and spend some time in the ruck.
I would change it up, and I would use Greenwood, which I think they are.
Second ruck,
as the second ruck, rather than upsetting their forward structure. Because Barras and McGovern will be too good.
Yeah.
So you hear the applause as Tristan Sherry makes his way off the ground. 24 years of age, has played 24 games and over 200 centimetres across his 6 years, but has had some challenges, stayed with North Melbourne rather than going elsewhere, and we'll bring you updates on that. Yep. Williams wins down the tap, straight to Kelly, who kicks off the outside of the boot and out of bounds on the full. A North Melbourne free kick. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Tristan Cherry was really grimacing when he came off the field, straight down in the rooms, and you could see how upset he was with the injury. So you can see, I think he knows this might keep him out of the game at least today.
Thanks, Loz. Siebel takes the free kick, straight down the middle to Simpkin. Now out wide for Curtis, who finds the run of Scott. Beautifully placed kick. Kicks off the instep of his shin. It rolls on the turf to Greenwood. Got it back to Scott. Powell with an important touch. Knocked it to Davies Uniac. Back to Powell. Great build-up from North. Kicks across the face. Cunnington got it. Just in front of the right behind post as Gaff went back with the flight. Couldn't get a hand onto it.
I think we'll see this quite often with Ben Cunnington resting as probably the deepest forward. Very good forward. I think in his junior career, he might have kicked 15 goals in a game. Now, I know that's a long time ago, but he can definitely do it.
Off one step, kicks across the body, as casual as you like. He misses across the face. The triumphant return from cancer to play in the last 2 games of the 2022 season. Great to see him back and firing for North. West Coast leaders cut by 1 to 5 points. 27 minutes gone, opening term.
So Herm with the kick in, stabs it short to the pocket, and McGovern's able to mark. Right back pocket for the Eagles. They lead by 5 points. Closing in on quarter time. Both of these teams only won 5 first quarters last year. Long kick to the wing. Bonner spoils it down. Shuey goes in alongside Ryan. Bonner picks it up for North. Gets a handball out. Trying to come through is Davies Uniacke. Leaves it behind. Shuey goes back in. Thought he was taken high. Umpire lets them play. Davies Uniacke, a nice pirouette out of trouble. Off to Scott. Handball away. Back to Davies Uniacke. Sidesteps an opponent. Feeds the handball forward. Snap on goal from Zerha. Beautiful from North Melbourne. Wonderfully worked from the wing. Handball zigzagging inside 50. And Zerha with the finish. And for the first time today, they kick back-to-back majors and take back the lead. They're 3-3-21, the Eagles 3-2-20. As we approach quarter time, Adam Ramanauskas, Nathan Burke.
How good's that from Davies Uniacke? Going at full speed, then to be able to sidestep and compose yourself, find a teammate with a beautiful handball to Zerha, who doesn't have to break stride. But Benny, well called. They did work it nicely from that wing, but it could be anything. Davies Uniacke as a footballer, he
10
emerged,
disposals, 3 clearances.
Yeah, he emerged last year. Can he now put that consistent level of performance week in, week out and be North Melbourne's very best midfielder?
Closing in on quarter time, back in the middle. Comden doing the ruck work, but it's Williams who gets the clearance. Kicks straight down the middle and is able to find Cripps right on the edge of the centre square. Hand pass to a streaming Luke Shuey. Fires on goal and he misses to the right-hand side. Minor score. Scores level at 21 apiece. Thanks to Terry from Thornbury from your contribution on the SMS. Damien as well. Great to hear Ben Cameron in Melbourne. And a long one around some of the North Melbourne fans who have been given some tickets. We'll bring you that at quarter time, plus an update on Jeremy Howe.
Zeeble with a long kick to the wing. Williams spoils it down. Simpkin able to rove. Little 1-2 with Comben. Now kicks on his left, Simpkin. North towards half forward. Great body work by Cunnington. Takes the mark. Centres it up beautifully and spots it onto the chest of Curtis. He marks 25 out directly in front. And North go coast to coast all the way down the dockside wing.
Well, there's that value of Ben Cunnington you heightened, Adam. He was pretty much a kick to a one-on-one contest, but Ben just used his body amazingly well, played on.
Curtis comes in, puts it on the left boot, tugs it slightly and misses. A let off for the Eagles.
That marking contest with Cunnington, that's Tom Barras.
Yeah.
So, he was able just to basically push him aside with with his thick legs, Cunnington. So he will be a handful for any opponent down there.
And brings the Eagles back into play. A beautiful kick that finds Callum Jamison. No Nick Nat Nui for the Eagles, so gets an opportunity alongside Williams this afternoon. Comes inboard to Jeremy McGovern. Has it at right half back. Looking for an avenue forward for the Eagles. Goes wide for Darling. Logue's there as well. Bergman came in from the side and sees it out of play. 31 minutes gone, opening term. 6 goals in the match. North Melbourne leading by a point.
Eagles have got Williams, Darling and Oscar Allen as the 3 players inside 50, so extremely tall.
From the throw-in, Jamison one down the tap, but it's Powell who read it. Hand pass to Simpkin, who was being held before he had the footy. Jai Simpkin will take the free kick at left half back for North.
Means Jack Zeeble has to take one of them, so he's giving away a good 20 centimetres playing at full back.
Simpkin kicks inboard to Zeeble. Zeeble goes back inside the D50 to Bonner. North Melbourne chipping it around. Bonner will run and look out towards the city wing. Now kicks long towards that wing, looking for Zerha. Right there with him is Cole. Cole wins it down, then wins the footy. Streams away from them, gives it off to Ryan, takes a bounce, kicks short, and spots up Cripps. Oh, not paid. Play on, says the umpire. Not 15. And north of there, Goda's able to get a handball away. Shields can't quite gather it. Sheasel gets onto it, dumps it on the boot, and kicks it out of bounds on the full. And North Melbourne will lead at the first change, 3 goals apiece. With North 3-4-22 lead the Eagles 3-3-21.
So an entertaining quarter in which North Melbourne kicked the opening goal of the match. The West Coast Eagles kicked the next 3. And then North finished with the last 2 of the quarter to hold on to a 1-point advantage, 3-4-22 to the West Coast Eagles, 3-3-21. Goals to Davies, Uniac, Larkey and Zerha for the Roos. Meanwhile, for the West Coast Eagles, Allen, Darling and Jones. Don't forget you can get in touch with us throughout the afternoon on 0437 774 774. Don't worry, South Australian listeners, you'll get all the lead up to Port Adelaide taking on the Brisbane Lions later on this afternoon. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming via the ABC Listen app.
ABC Listen.
Our minds are powerful and complex. Join Sana Kadar to explore everything mental about the mind, the brain, and our behaviour.
As you scale this technique up, you can memorize all kinds of things.
From negotiating to addiction to AI. The history of brainwashing, emotional intelligence, rudeness, and humour.
How does that feel?
All in the Mind with Sana Kadar. Podcast available now on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Don Sheed marks on his chest. Right half forward for the West Coast Eagles. Looks to come inboard to Shuey. He marks at the edge of the centre square, and now the precise kick into the pocket. Darling the target and reaches up over the top of Griffin Logue to take the mark. This is as tough as they get. On the angle, kicks across the body. Not a bad effort. Superb finish. Larkey's on a long lead. He marks on his chest. He's got a one-on-one inside 50. He's just spotted Compton, who came on from the bench. He marks it left half forward. Drives it long inside 50. Davies Uniac got rid of his opponent. Shoved him into a teammate. Now to finish on the right he does.
Shuey goes back in, thought he was taken high. Umpire lets them play. Davies Uniac, a nice pirouette out of trouble. Off to Scott. Handball away. Back to Davies Uniac. Sidesteps an opponent. Feeds the handball forward. Snap on goal from Zerha. Beautiful from North Melbourne.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
The highlights of the opening quarter as heard on Grandstand AFL from Docklands in Melbourne. It's the Roos who hold a 1-point advantage, 3-4-22 to the West Coast Eagles, 3-3-21. Matt Klitsch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. The thoughts of your experts, Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke.
Well, it was a high-energy first quarter by both teams. You could see both teams wanted to move the ball a lot quicker. We're so used to seeing West Coast over the years be just this kick mark stop team. Their handball was a lot more evident that first quarter. 51 kicks, 41 handballs. So trying to move the ball at every occasion, trying to get it in their forward 50 as quickly as they can. 14 inside 50s to 13 in West Coast favour. So trying to push the ball in as much as they can. The most pleasing thing, if I'm a West Coast supporter, is their players look fit. They look healthy. Luke Shuey looks healthy. Tim Kelly looks healthy. Andrew Gaff looks healthy. Oscar Allen looks healthy. McGovern, Barras, they look healthy. They look fit. So that, in the previous years, that hasn't been the case. So that does give West Coast the best chance to compete in this game. Where Adam Simpson will be happy is their disposal efficiency is right up at 84% at the moment. But that's also then a worry for North Melbourne. They're not applying enough pressure when West Coast do win the ball, to run, to chase, to tackle, to harass. North Melbourne, on the other hand, it's virtually a mirror image. They're trying to move the ball as quickly as they can. Want to win the ball across half-back, create those intercept turnovers, and then go from there. Sheasel, in his first quarter of AFL football, had eight possessions all across half-back. Luke Davies-Uniacke was terrific with 9 and 3 clearances, but he looks and reminds me a little bit of Scott Pendlebury, where he's able to create time and space around him. And that's just through a subtle sidestep or a fake with the handball, just to create that extra moment of time where we saw late in that last quarter he's able to sidestep, give the handball to Zerha, who then is able to kick the goals. Promising signs for both teams. The challenge for North Melbourne is, with Sherry going down, how do they restructure now through the middle of the ground? But also, if they have to bring Comden up into the ruck, how does Nick Larkey then compete forward?
The worry for me, if I'm Alistair Clarkson, is when West Coast get that overlap handball run through the middle of the ground or across the wings, they look really dangerous getting the ball inside 50. The ball will come to ground because they've got, at various times, Allen down there, they've got young Jamison down there, they've got Darling down there. They're a very, very tall forward line, so the ball's going to come to ground. Then you've got Jones, Ryan, Cripps. If you give them time and space when the ball hits the ground, they're going to be dangerous and they're likely to score. So holding West Coast up through the middle of the ground is where North Melbourne need to really concentrate their defensive efforts. Going inside 50 for North hasn't been great. A couple of times they've really pinpointed targets. They've had shots at goals, but a couple of times they've wasted it. Curtis in particular had a couple that he really would want back at the end of the day. So we can tighten that up. For West Coast Eagles, for me, it's that running in numbers. They're probably not winning the clearances at the moment. I think it's 17-23 in favour of the Kangaroos. So getting that first ball use, getting the ball inside 50 where it's 6-on-6 to start with, I think that's going to be a big thing for West Coast Eagles. So if I'm Adam Simpson, I'm saying, guys, let's get it and run in numbers, get the ball in as quickly as we can. For North Melbourne, I'm saying, hey, hold them up, win the ball back through the middle by putting pressure on that handball, and then we can go straight back at their defence, who they don't like to play one-on-one.
No.
They like to zone. And if we can go back quickly while they're still standing in a zone, we can lower our eyes and we can hit a lot of targets inside 50. So stuff there for both teams to work on.
Nathan Burke and Adam Romanascus, your experts. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron and Lauren Borden with you. Collingwood have sent out their confirmation that Jeremy Howe has undergone surgery this morning. We spoke to Tom Mitchell on the lead. That's available on the best of ABC Sport, as so many of our podcasts are. So unfortunately, the injury through the third quarter, General Manager of Football Graham Wright said, "We're disappointed for Jeremy, who suffered a compound fracture in his forearm during the game last night. We'll provide an update on his return to play timeline in due course." What's your expectation, Rama?
Compound fracture of the forearm. Yeah.
Have a think.
Nasty.
Second quarter underway. North Melbourne leading by a point against the West Coast Eagles. Williams reaches over the top, wins down the tap for the Eagles. Sheed on all fours, got it to Shuey, who was dragged down. A chance for Greenwood for the Roos, and then a hand pass from Davies Uniacke. Stevenson just couldn't quite gather. Duggan careful not to give away the free kick. Powell for North to Greenwood.
Great
the
kick.
hand pass away, and the kick inside 50 was superb. As the kick from Phillips was able to find the leading Larkey.
That's a perfect example. So Barris is Larkey's direct opponent. He was expecting the long kick. Larkey goes at the kicker. Leads hard and takes a simple chest mark directly out 35 metres in front.
So Larkey kicked the opening goal of the game for his second directly in front, steers it straight over the goal umpire's hat. And with that, North Melbourne with a bit of breathing space, lead by 7 points early in the second quarter. 4-4-28 to the West Coast Eagles, 3-3-21.
The impressive thing for Larkey, for me then, was that he actually started his lead before Phillips got the ball. So there was a scrum of plays. Phillips was on the outside. As soon as Larkey saw that, hey, the ball's going out to him, he's going to have time and space, he started running. He ran forward, and when the player looks up with the ball, their eyes are drawn to anyone who's moving. Larkey was the only one out of about 12 players inside 50 moving. He got the footy, turns around, kicks the goal. So really smart and creative forward play there by Larkey. It might have looked simple, but it was really, really crafty stuff.
And Will Phillips, of course, the sub in for Tristan Sherry, so his afternoon is done.
So North with the last three all of a sudden. Williams slaps it down to Sheed for the Eagles. Gets a quick kick. Up and down it goes. Going back, Shields, courageous mark. Runs into his Eagles opponent in Cripps. Gives off the handball to Sheasel. G's been busy. A little 1-2. He's got it again. He kicks towards Curtis, who's able to mark. He'll look deep inside attacking 50 towards full forward. No mark taken. McGovern goes and picks up the foot. He loses it. Now Hearn, he's dragged down in a tackle. And we'll get a ball up 25 metres out from the attacking goal for North.
If anybody's questioning why Alistair Clarkson went and got Liam Shields, that contest is exactly why. What a great example to his younger players.
Greenwood, one down the tap to Curtis, dodging and weaving. Sublime finish on his left. selling them all a merry dance as he found the opening and was able to finish on his left boot. Paul Curtis has some talent, and North Melbourne skip out by 13 points with the opening 2 goals of the second quarter, which is now 3 minutes old. 5-4-34 to the West Coast Eagles, 3-3-21.
Well, what's most concerning there for West Coast is Paul Curtis was left unattended at that stoppage. So great tap by Greenwood against the bigger Bailey Williams in the ruck contest, but he's a classy player. He's one of those young players that we spoke about before the game that you want to see improvement out of. Now, he's able to do that inside forward 50, Berkey, albeit with no opponent. Could be another star of the future for North Melbourne.
Yep, Dom Sheed, I want to see you do better defensively. Yeah. And Andy Gaff, I want to see you throw yourself on the player's boot to smother it.
Williams able to knock it down from the restart. Shuey paddling it, trying to pick it up. Stevenson finally can for North, but he's quickly wrapped up.
You don't get a stat for desperation, Berkey.
No, you get some respect, though. Yes. That's more important than a stat.
Yes.
Williams against Greenwood. Greenwood follows up at ground level, gives it off to Phillips, squeezes a kick forward for North, bouncing ball, going after it, Hunt for the Eagles. Stevenson right there with him. Hunt finally able to gather. Fires a handball to Chesser, took too long. Shields got him.
To the back.
And he got him in the back. So a free kick to the debutant for the Eagles, Campbell Chesser. Pick 14 from not last year, but the year before, and out all of last year with an ankle injury. Kicks towards the wing. Sheasel goes up, fists it away. Loose footy now in the middle of the ground. Onto it quickly is Phillips for North. Handball to Bonner. Handball away to Zeeble across halfback.
They've got the run of Bergman. The hand pass was wide of him, though. He runs onto it. Now gets a centre wing on the outer side. Looks up towards Larkey. Barris tries to set himself in front. Brings it down. A chance for Comden. Trying to knock it on. Now Witherden's tackle. Comden's gone down. This is not a good sign, and it's a free kick going the way of North Melbourne. As Curtis is going to get the shot, but I'm just keeping an eye on Comden, who's down on all fours.
Another big man down. The umpire's taken the ball, so they're going to wait until he gets attended to before we play on.
Witherden was deemed holding the footy, which is the free kick.
It was a bit of a punch in the guts, so it's winded.
Yeah, winded.
Okay.
Taking the stuffing out of him.
Come on, big fella. Roll across the line. You'll be right. Let's get the game going.
Trainers that come out and they're trying to do exactly
get the hands
that.
above the head.
Exactly that. Just steer him towards the boundary so play can continue. And
there's not many worse feelings than being winded.
It's frightening, isn't it?
You feel like you got to, for the first couple, you feel like you're going to die.
And now he's given the trainers the green light, and that's the applause from the North Melbourne fans, and maybe the riot cheer from some of the West Coast fans. As Paul Curtis can have his shot on goal. He's out to the left. He'll be just inside 50 as he strikes the ball. A chance for back-to-back goals for him. And 3 in quick succession for North. Comes in and crosses the 50. Curtis hangs it out to the left, and it won't come back enough. And in fact, it's out of bounds on the full. Fails to score. So North by 13 points. 5 minutes gone, second quarter.
I remember Darryl White got me from Brisbane one day. Winded me an absolute beauty. And I was in no man's land for about a minute or two.
Shannon Hearn thumps it long all the way towards the wing. It tumbles out. There's a free kick. It'll go the way of the Eagles. Oscar Allen will get it. 13 points, North's advantage. 6 minutes into the second. Allen goes back to the defensive arc and finds Duggan. One of the 10 premiership players from 2018 out there for the Eagles today. Duggan kicks high, back towards the logo on the wing. Pack forms. Logue hands to it, down in front Greenwood. Handball back towards the boundary side. Ryan fumbles it out. And we'll get a throw in neutral territory on the City wing. 5-4-34 plays 3-3-21, 6.5 minutes played. Free kick picked out. It'll go to Bailey Williams for the Eagles.
And he hand pass to Luke Shuey, who wants to try and move it quickly for the West Coast Eagles. Drives it inside 50, not a good kick for Allen. Darling spoils it down. McDonald front and centre for North. Hand pass boundary side. Ryan can't keep it in. As Jack Zeeble makes sure he goes over the line with the footy. And a boundary throw in the right forward pocket for the West Coast Eagles. 7 minutes gone, second quarter. North led by a point at quarter time. 3 quick goals to start this second quarter. Greenwood tries to get the clearance from the ruckwork. Sheasel just volleys it out of the air. With it and gathered. Tackled by Turner. Duggan for the Eagles. Hand pass to feed it forward. O'Neill with a high kick inside 50. Allen coming out. Won't get there. And Griffin Logue in front takes the intercepting mark. The former Docker now in the North Melbourne colours, 25 metres out from his defensive goal.
Gives it off to Sheasel again, running across the goal mouth and then chipping it short to Shields. He showed us all of his arts and crafts today, hasn't he, Sheasel? Already, his kick to the wing. Well, Shields' kick to the wing, not ideal. Loose footy now. Able to pick it up, Davies Uniacke for North. Handball away to Stevenson. Now Sheed getting involved for the Eagles. Shields goes again for North. He's met by a solid bump from Shuey. Handball away towards Simpkin. He gets hit by a strong tackle. Sheed goes in and on Shields. It's a hot footy.
Shields going to get a free kick here. It's good stuff by both teams. North Melbourne to absorb the pressure, West Coast to apply the pressure.
And Witherden's hurt his shoulder. His left shoulder has come off, cradling that. It wasn't necessarily clean footy, but it was a hot footy and good footy. 13 minutes into this second, 8 minutes into this second term, North by 13.
Logue bounding off half-back for North Melbourne, kicks up towards half-forward, it clears Turner and O'Neill and goes out of play.
So that's the one where Logue's got to take the 10 metres more space in front of you, get it deep inside forward 50. Don't go wide. Now you're sort of in no man's land on a half-forward flank here.
6 years at the Fremantle Dockers, formerly wore number 2, now in number 19 for North Melbourne. Thrown back in. Williams wins down the tap for the Eagles. O'Neill feeds it to Gaff, all the way back to Hearn at centre half back, snaps around the body. High ball towards Darling, who's first to spoil. Spills the way of Scott of North Melbourne. Hand pass to Zeeble. Phillips through traffic. Sheasel, the youngsters combining. Now to Simpkin. Sheasel almost run down, squeezed to kick away. Intercepted by Cole.
Terrific by Gimby. Just kept up that pressure.
Got the hand pass to Jones. Back to Cole, run down. Free kick North Melbourne's way. Goda takes the advantage, fires on goal and misses to the right-hand side. North leading by 13 points. 9 minutes gone, second quarter.
Going to stick my head up in a minute, Rammer and Berkey. Don't lop it off here on day one as McGovern goes short to Cole, gets it back, has it at right half-back, will chip it short, and the mark taken by Hearn.
Just sharpening my axe here, Benny, so be careful.
Hearn kicks around the boundary line. City wing coming up. Gaffs over to Mark. Just looked a little bit like Nick Dacos cruising around half-back. Harry Sheasel here in round one. I know it's very early on, but...
Well, he's up to 14 possessions, so he's finding the football comfortably.
Sheed will kick long around the City wing towards a pack. Over the back it goes. Loose footy out of play. Lauren Borden downstairs. North Melbourne leading by 14 points.
You mentioned Alex Witherden. He's okay now. Just a problem with the left shoulder. Got the rotations in it, and the doctor just patted him on the back and said, "You just have to get out there as it is."
Little stinger.
I'm with you. I can see the similarity. Good ball use so far as well.
Thanks, Clinchy. The silence was deafening from Berkey and Rammer.
It's all right. We'll stick together throughout the season.
Well, don't worry. We've recorded that for later down the track, so it's okay.
Sheed won it for the West Coast Eagles. Hand pass to Ginby. Reuben Ginby wrapped up. There's nowhere to go, and the ball thrown up.
They've got Zeeble and Sheasel playing that role coming off there, and they're both doing a really good job.
Davies Uniacke for North Melbourne wins it at half-back. Hand pass to Phillips and now to Scott. Kicks through the middle of Docklands. The Eagles have numbers. Cole gathers. Tries to brush off the Stevenson tackle. Hand pass back to Duggan all the way back. Barris looks out to centre wing. And the mark is taken by Jones.
I think is what is clearly evident with both these teams. They look a lot fitter than they were last year.
Cripps works it forward. And here's Jaden Hunt, the former Demon, in his new colours.
And I say that because you've got to have a starting point as each team. Fitness is a good start.
Kicks looking into the pocket for Oscar Allen. It lands just wide of him. And Aiden Bonner goes out of play for a boundary throw in. Left forward pocket for the West Coast Eagles. It's North by 14 points. The Roos with 2 goals to none so far in this second quarter.
10 minutes since the last goal. North with the only 2 of the quarter. Greenwood doing the ruck work. It ricochets off bodies. Back out of play. We'll get a throw in 40 around from the attacking goal for the Eagles. Darling to do the ruck work. Opposed to Hugh Greenwood. Christian Sherry off with an ankle injury in the first quarter. Greenwood fists it down in front. Loose footy going in is Zeeble. And we'll get another ball up. Still 40 metres out from the Eagles' attacking goal. Their last goal coming at the 18-minute mark of that first term. Umpire puts it aloft. Greenwood locks up with Darling, wins it down, but Kelly steals it, kicks towards full forward for the Eagles. No mark taken. Coming through McDonald. He might have been taken in the back. And there's a free kick. Is there? Yeah, push in the back.
There's the umpire, not the closest one, or the closest one to him, but the one further back, the one in the centre, paid that one.
There's about 14 on the ground now, Berkey.
So it'll go to Griffin Logue, the new Kangaroo. He'll have it in the right back pocket for North.
Looking to play alongside Aiden Core when he returns. Sends it long towards half-back. It's well read by Zerha, but it's a high kick straight around the wing. Stevenson had to sit underneath. It was touched. Now he needs to get around Duggan. Kicks looking for Comden. It won't get to him. He cannons into Jeremy McGovern, who takes the mark in front for West Coast at left half-back. Spears it back inside the defensive 50. Gaff takes the mark and plays on. Turner corrals him, so returns it back to Cole, who takes the mark in the back pocket. Looks up to the wing. Jamison the target. Chesser there as well. Spills to the front. Davies Uniac, the tackler on Duggan. That's a bone-shaking tackle as he puts him to the turf. Luke Davies Uniac, he's the full complement. He's a ready-made midfielder. North leading by 14 points.
Ball up. Comben lays it down there for Simpkin. Can't quite emerge through the traffic. Eventually it spits out to Phillips. Handball to Zeeble. Kicks North towards full forward. Looking for Larky. McGovern comes across. Takes the defensive mark for the Eagles. Kicks out towards the city wing. Gaff runs onto the loose footy. Now to get a handball back towards Cole. Cole then loses it. Has to slap it towards Long. In his first game, gathers cleanly. Very cleverly as well. Kicks towards the wing. Zeeble comes across. Kills it out of play. A big spoil. The former North captain able to save the day, and we'll get a throw in between wing and half forward for the Eagles. North 5-5-35, lead the Eagles 3-3-21, quarter hour mark, second term.
We've got an accidental collision between Larky and McGovern and banged heads. It looks like McGovern's come off second best.
Jamison wins down the tap against Comden. Phillips for North Melbourne. Worked it back to Bergman. Phillips was downed off the ball. North take it through Sheasel. Another disposal. Works it to Zerha at the edge of the centre square. Turns and looks inside 50. It's smothered on the way through. It should still get to Stevenson. I thought it took a deflection, but it didn't. Stevenson takes the mark.
That's definitely a missed kick.
Got where it was intended, though, and Jaden Stevenson takes the mark on his chest in the right forward pocket.
Oh, I've been impressed with Goda. He's just done a couple of things that caught my eye. It looks like an AFL footballer.
He's a bit bigger as well, 190 centimetres. As Jaden Stevenson has had his ups and downs in his time at North, he comes in and hangs it out to the left on a 45-degree angle, misses, and another minor score. North by 15 points, 5-5-35 to the Eagles 3-3-21. As Benny may mention, over 10 minutes now since North kicked the first two goals.
Interesting to note about Jaden Stevenson as well, as Hearn brings it back into the left back pocket. Not in the long sleeves today. Alistair Clarkson, notedly not a fan of the long sleeves, as Barris kicks long to the wing. And a good mark taken by Griffin Logue there for North.
Not sure you're wearing long sleeves in 35.
It is 37. You're right, Rammer. But
I think they're a thing of the past as well at North Melbourne.
I'm with you. Round two's a watch.
Yeah. Logue goes short to Zeeble, who decides to kick it long towards full forward, looking for a marker. He can only find Barris. Takes the defensive mark on the last line of defence for the Eagles. That's what you've spoken about, Rammer. The West Coast Eagles.
Oh, they'll dine out.
Yeah.
You've only one tall forward. Barris and McGovern will dine out on those high balls.
It's a no-fly zone.
Jamison tries to compete in the air, brings it down at ground level. A chance for Curtis for North Melbourne, spinning out of traffic, but the footy is locked underneath him. The umpire has a look and will ball it up.
So, yeah, it's a matter of lowering the eyes. Simple as that. They're trying to hit up those short targets. You look now, Larky's got Barris in front of him and McGovern behind him.
North by 15. Davies Uniac to Cunnington, long inside 50. Larky the target. Stevenson knocks it on. Too sharp in the end for Curtis. It's still a tough ball to be won in the end. Well done by Cole. He knocked it on to McGovern's advantage. Trying to find a way out. Cole as he jams it onto his boot to a one-on-one. Good option. And front position It's taken by Long, who marks in front of Bergman, right half back for the West Coast Eagles.
Long kicks long towards the wing, and Oscar Allen is able to mark. The Eagles stream forward. He puts it out in front of Ryan. Sheasel right there with him. Ryan goes up and marks. Sheasel holds him up. 51 metres out, Ryan. He sets it up. Darling in best position. Can't quite complete the mark, but he'll get a free kick. You heard it from Adam Ramanauskas. And Jack Darling will get the kick. The mark 25 metres out. Slight angle left of centre.
Yeah, you don't want Liam Shield in that matchup, Berkey, obviously, but it was an obvious, the umpire was right there, an obvious free kick to Darling, just chopped the arms, wasn't looking at the football, so whatever you want to pay.
So Jack Darling, he kicked the Eagles' last goal midway through the first term. Since then, North have kicked the last 4. Trudges in and misses right. A bad miss. Right when the Eagles need one. North 5-6-36, the Eagles 3-4-22, 18 and a half minutes gone in the second term here on Grandstand AFL.
Get Lauren to keep an eye on McGovern down there. He had that accidental head clap with Larkey, and he's come off and getting a lot of attention from the medicos on the bench.
McDonald with the kick in. It's coming back though. Hearn and Darling combined. Back to Hearn. Sends it inside 50. Allen outnumbered. Logan front didn't complete the mark. Got it to Luke McDonald. Runs out of defence. Kicks towards Comden. He's got 2 to compete against. Hunt in front. Hearn at the back. Shannon Hearn gathers for the Eagles. Jamison run now by Comden. Great tackle. Greenwood shovels it forward. A hand pass to Powell. Trying to link up with Taylor. Spins out of traffic to Shields. They're winning all the one-on-ones. Gets it forward to Zerha. He sidesteps an opponent. Drives it inside 50. Larkey the target, or at the back. Curtis takes the mark. Very unselfish from Nick Larkey. And he's a little bit slow to rise, Paul Curtis, as he cannoned into the goal post.
I think he's hit his head on that post. Yep.
So they've already used their sub with Tristan Sherry, unfortunately, out of the match. An ankle injury in the first quarter as he was tackled by Luke Shuey. And Curtis now gets to his feet. There's a second goal on offering. A third shot on goal in this second quarter. Steps out, snaps on the left. And a second for Curtis as North Melbourne extends their lead out to a 20-point game-high lead. 6-6-42 to the West Coast Eagles, 3-4-22. 20 minutes gone, second quarter. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
I spoke about, Berkey, the fitness of both teams. Here, North Melbourne showed the strength. West Coast missed tackle. North Melbourne able to bounce off him. Finally ends with Zerha, where Duggan missed the tackle and then's able to drive it inside forward 50. Doesn't allow Barras to get involved. McGovern's on the bench at the moment, and probably the smallest forward in Curtis takes the mark.
I really like big Charlie Common's tackle down here in front of us too. He went up for the mark, spilt the mark, but boy, he was back on the play really, really quickly and laid a big, strong tackle.
Shocking bounce in the middle. Try again. Harry Sheasel leading all comers with 15 disposals. Williams wins the tap for the Eagles, down towards Xavier O'Neill. He's buffeted off the footy. Cunnington goes in, fighting there with Gaff. Cunnington eventually gets it out. Sheed onto the footy for the Eagles. There's a whistle, free kick. It'll come back to Simpkin.
Ben Cunnington wanted that ball more than any other 8 players who were around it, and that's why North Melbourne have ended up with it. Simple as that.
Simpkin in the middle of the ground. Kicks inside, attacking 50. Larkey with a run and jump. Runs underneath the footy. Ball bounces out the back. Comben in a little bit of space. Puts it on the right boot. Floats it towards goal. It'll be touched and rushed through for a behind. North 6-7-43. The Eagles 3-4-22. Nigh on 22 minutes gone in this second term.
On the SMS, Sean in Sydney. So good to be able to listen to the radio coverage through the ABC Listen app. Big game changer and a big win for Common Sense. Great to have you on board, Sean. And Josh from Castlemaine with Zeeble, Sheasel, Sheed and Shields all running out there today. The commentary team's doing a great job not to get tongue-tied. We hope we can stay that way, Josh. It is a good exercise in patience for round one to try and make sure we get them all right. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Jeremy McGovern, he came off willingly when the doctors called him for a rotation. He sat with the doctors for a long time while they reviewed the footage. He's back on the front of the bench, though, so it looks like he's been given the all-clear to go back on. No concussion test for him.
Thanks, Lauren. Sheed with a kick up the wing. Darling was taken out of it. North a chance to reload on half-back. Simpkin runs his full measure. Almost run down by Cripps. Kicks inside 50. Hearn set himself. Didn't complete the mark. Now the Eagles under pressure. Duggan. Hand pass to Gaff. Cannon into by Powell. Umpire will ball it up 60 metres out from North Melbourne's goal. It's the Roos by 21 points.
Umpire puts it up. Greenwood and Williams. Williams slaps it down. Stolen there for North by Powell. Tumbles a kick inside 50. Bouncing ball. Larkey in the pocket. Might have been tackled high. Loses it. He was tackled high. And he'll get the free kick in the right forward pocket. Shannon Hearn wrapping him up above the shoulder, and Larkey will go back tight angle in the right forward pocket.
Poor technique by Hearn. You're tackling a guy who's 198 centimetres. There's no need to get the arm over the shoulder and give him a shot for goal from 20 metres out.
Well, Larkey kicked 6 against West Coast last year and earned the 3 Brownlow medal votes. He'll have 3 before halftime if he can kick this. He stabs it through, and North have hit West Coast for the last 6. 6 on the trot. They're 7-7-49. The Eagles 3-4-22. After 24 minutes in the second term here on Grandstand AFL. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke.
North Melbourne definitely looked a better team this quarter. Their pressure has been at a heightened level over West Coast Eagle. The way that they've moved the ball has been at a level above what the Eagles are, and it's real concerning for the Eagles going inside at half-time, at least probably 4 goals down at the moment. They just haven't really fired a shot. We wanted them to be better around the stoppages. They're probably winning the hit-outs. Williams is getting his hand to the ball more often than his opponent, but they're just not capitalising, and North Melbourne are a far better team at the moment.
Bounce back in the middle. Lucky's had to go into the ruck with no Sherry. Jamison wins down the tap. Clearance going the way of North. Davies Uniacke's hand pass was almost picked off, but it falls to Simpkin. Tackled by Kelly, which impeded his kick, and Jamison at half forward, half back for West Coast, takes the intercepting mark. Hand pass to Shuey. Round the back to Duggan. Too wide for O'Neill and out of bounds on the full. Free kick going the way of Jack Siebel, who will take it at right half back. At what stage does Adam Simpson start to get worried, Rama?
Now.
About 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
As Ben said, the last 6 goals the way of North Melbourne. So the Eagles haven't kicked a goal since the 18-minute mark of the first quarter. Long kick around the wing. Spoiled down by McGovern. Sheed for the West Coast Eagles. Hand pass to Witherden, and now Shuey across half back. Spots up the option in Andrew Gaff.
He'll just stab it out wide to Jones. Stops, props, gets back on the left, kicks towards half forward, getting a hand in low. Now he follows up at ground level, picks it up one-handed. Flicks a handball over the top. Not a good one, though. Jones will come back through for the Eagles. Knocks it into the path of Gaff. Handball away to Allen. Back to Jones. Time to steady from 45. Fires on goal. And he puts it through. Advantage paid. And Jones takes full toll. And kicks the Eagles a much-needed goal. Their 4th of the afternoon. It ends a streak of 6 for North. The Eagles 4-4-28, trailing North 7-7-49, a 21-point buffer, 3 minutes away from halftime.
So Jamison takes the mark right in front of us here, Berkey. And I'm sort of thinking, slow it down a little bit. No, North Melbourne, they've got the momentum, they're scoring freely. Just slow the game down, take some minutes out before halftime. But they want to play at a speed. So he switches the ball, goes out to the city side of the ground. Then it's a chain of handballs. Griffin Logue was good, but he slipped over at the critical time.
Missed a handball.
Yeah, and that just allowed Jones then to get back involved. The handball from Oscar Allen inside to Jones and able to convert at a tight angle.
So an all-important goal for the West Coast Eagles, and they might get a clearance here as Sheed feeds the hand pass to Kelly, kicks inside 50. Logue read it best, then had to brush off the Allen tackle, almost brought down by Williams. Jermaine Jones onto it, hand pass to Sheed, spreads the kick wide towards Cripps. Siebel came out, got a fist to it and spoils it out of play. There were 3 Eagles in the proximity and 1 Kangaroo, and Siebel won the battle.
They're unlucky there, West Coast. Good forward pressure. I'd like to see a replay of how Griffin Logue disposed of that football.
He's leading his opponent at the ball really well.
Yeah.
Just needs to be not try and do too much once he gets it.
Jamison knocks it down, but into the path of Davies Uniacke, who kicks to the wing. Curtis can't take the mark. He's tackled quickly by Witherden. Umpire circles, who come in and ball it up. Right alongside the logo, city side of the ground here at Docklands. North leading by 21. Closing in on half-time. Jamison hooking it down into the path of Kelly, but following up Greenwood. Gets it on his left boot, kicks towards half-forward. Oh, big bump. Loose footy. Heavily hit was Witherden. Now Davies Uniacke again picks it up and dribbles it forward. Duggan, a high spiral towards the wing. Camping underneath it. A good mark taken by Bergman. Able to take the mark alongside the logo on the wing for North.
Getting his opportunity, Miller Bergman, to start season 2023. Comes inboard to Luke McDonald. Looks out to Jai Simpkin. Runs into space at left half forward. Must be said, North have done this so much better than West Coast, their transition. But it's a stacked forward 50. And Simpkin will drive a kick towards Larkey. Sets himself, it clears him. Barris was there as well. Cole ragdoll in a big tackle. Cam Zerha got him and threw him to the turf. And just to rub salt, Ben Cunnington's there as well. So if one misses here, the other's going to get it. Thrown up inside the attacking 50. Greenwood doing the ruck work. Tries to squeeze a kick forward for North. Only as far as Gaff. A relieving kick towards half back. It's over the head of Williams. Logue had it for a moment. Cleverly done by Ryan. Tapped it to his own advantage and volleyed it forward. No one's there though. Working back is Goda for North Melbourne. He'll get there first. Kicks out towards the broadcast wing. Over the head of Taylor. He controlled it well, like a fielder down at fine leg, had to wait a long time and eventually held on, I think, as much as to his relief as the North Melbourne fans in front of him.
He wants to come back inboard and Zeebel's able to mark.
He marked that one about 5 metres away from the coach, who's on the boundary line and giving a lot of instructions down there, Clarko.
Zeebel stabs it short back to Taylor, who chips it short to McDonald.
No headset on the coach. He's just down there yelling at his players out on the field.
McDonald will go back to Zeebel. North happy to control possession. Zeebel short to McDonald. Described Alistair Clarkson as the ultimate puppet master, and he's trying to pull the strings here for his north side. McDonald goes long to half forward. Spoiled by McGovern. Barris roves. Hooks on his left boot, back towards the wing. Zeebel spoils. There is Goda. Wins it back for North. Gives it to McDonald. On his non-preferred right. High ball to half forward. Through the legs of Barris. Out the back it goes and knocked out there by Greenwood. In the battle of the surfy-looking dudes. He and Jamison going at it. And we'll get a throw in. 60 around from the attacking goal here for North Melbourne. They lead by 21 points. Not far away from halftime.
Thrown back in. Jamison takes it onto his chest. He's tackled by Greenwood, and the umpire says he'll ball it up. No opportunity to get rid of the footy. 50 metres out from North Melbourne's goal. Siren sounds for half-time, and North fans are liking what they're seeing as the Clarkson rebuild begins at Arden Street. They hold a 21-point advantage at half-time, having led by a point at quarter-time. The Roos 7-7-49 to the West Coast Eagles 4-4-28. So in that quarter, 4 goals to North Melbourne to 1 of the West Coast Eagles, with Nick Larkey having kicked 3 individuals, 2 to Curtis, individuals to Davies Uniacke and Zerha. Meanwhile, for the West Coast Eagles, 2 to Jermaine Jones, individuals to Darling and to Allen. Half-time at Docklands. North Melbourne hold the advantage over the West Coast Eagles. The thoughts of Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport.
Good quarter, really good quarter by North Melbourne. They're 4 goals to 1. Just what I like with North Melbourne, they're playing with speed, they're playing with dare, but they're also playing with a level of hardness. So you look at clearances, 21 to 11 without Sherry there for that whole second quarter. So that was a real domination in the clearances, and that's, I think, a key. I mentioned a developing team. You start with your fitness levels. That looks good, but then you got to work backwards from there. So next part comes the contest. The contest they're doing really well, 21 to 11 in clearances, and then where they're working around the ground is the contested football, 79 to 52, Berkey. So that's a really good number there for North Melbourne. Alistair Clarkson will be really happy with that side of the game. We've mentioned McGovern and Barras a couple of times. Larky's had a really good first half, kicking 3 goals. Paul Curtis, really dangerous as a smaller type forward with a couple of goals. Sheasel, up to 16 possessions in that half of football, coming off half back. I think Liam Ryan needs to take him deep. Test the young fella out now. See if he does go with him. You know, it's nice to get the football across half back, coming up to the midfield when you really haven't got too many people chasing you around. But Liam Ryan's an experienced, hardened player. Test him out. Take him down to the goal square. Get him on the lead. Turn him around. See if he can defend you. You got to test your opponent as much as you possibly can. I've liked what North Melbourne are doing. Davey Juniak, a good half of football. Simpkin, a good half of football. That's where West Coast, I think, will be disappointed. Shuey, Shee, Tim Kelly haven't had a lot of ball. They just haven't had a lot of ball, a lot of drive through the middle of the ground. So that's where West Coast need to clean up the contest first and foremost. They're getting smacked around clearances and contested football, but then their midfielders need to start going to work, need to start winning a lot more of the ball. You know, the disposal count is plus 30 in North Melbourne's favour, so winning a hell of a lot more ball.
Yeah, it's a bit soft, West Coast Eagles. There's no other word for it. You're getting beaten up around the contest by this relatively young North Melbourne team. The clearances, 21 to 11, without your number one ruck in there. That's terrible. That's not good enough at all. And Williams is getting his hand to it most often. It's the guys underneath that just aren't putting their body on the line, basically. North Melbourne are far harder. They're working in numbers, and when one person gets it, they've always got somebody there to share the ball with. So they're playing as a team far better than West Coast Eagles are. The Eagles could not transition the ball from one end of the ground to the other. In the first quarter, they managed to do it using their hands, but they couldn't do it in this quarter using their hands because they weren't running in support with each other. They were leaving their teammates one out far too often. I've liked Griffin Logue down there. I think he's going to be a good pickup for North Melbourne. He's not a super tall defender, but he's strong enough to play on the big bulls that are up there, and he won't get pushed around. And what he's done is he's played to his strengths, and he's come out and met the ball on the full a couple of times, got there before his opponent, been that attacking defender. So I think he's going to play a really important role for North Melbourne moving forward. So hopefully he stays fit. But young fellas like Tom Powell and Will Phillips, what I've liked about them is their willingness to throw their body in. They actually have a pretty good crack. It's not just about, okay, they can get the ball on the outside. They throw their body in and have knocked a couple of the bigger body West Coast midfielders over. They got Kelly and Hearn and these sorts of guys, and they're big bodies. And
6 possessions, Will Phillips, that quarter coming into the game.
Yeah, and he's matching it with these bigger bodies, absolutely. So a lot to like about the way North Melbourne are going about it. But West Coast Eagles, I think they need to have a really good look at themselves in the mirror at halftime, because a lot of it's just coming down to willingness to get your hands dirty, to bust and play two-way football. So you've got to defend as well as attack. It just can't be, you know what, I'm going to spread and hopefully get the easy ones on the outside. You've got to win it on the inside first, and that's not what they're doing.
So a lot of our listeners across the Nullarbor will be hoping for a bit better in the second half. Some of your contributions on the SMS, 0437 774 774. This is a lovely one which we didn't get a chance to bring to you before the game. The North game is especially poignant for the club, with one of its staunchest supporters recently succumbing to her fight against breast cancer. The club generously provided 200 tickets to her friends and family to sit together and cheer on the spirit of their beloved Jackie. So thanks very much for letting us know that. They're wearing a jumper in tribute to Dr. Alan Aylett as well, who passed away and played such a significant contribution to the North Melbourne Footy Club. So we love hearing stories like that with the footy club helping those that have supported the team across the years and the decades. Halftime here at Docklands. North Melbourne lead by 21 points over the West Coast Eagles. Let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Tom Melville. US President Joe Biden says the International Criminal Court is right to issue an arrest warrant for his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. The ICC has accused Mr. Putin of responsibility for taking children from occupied areas of Ukraine and taking them to Russia. It's the first time the global court has issued a warrant against the leader of one of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council. Mr. Biden says Mr. Putin has clearly committed war crimes.
Well, I think it's justified, but the question is, it's not recognized internationally by us either. But I think it makes a very strong point.
The head of the Productivity Commission has backed the Federal Treasurer's suggestions that it may be time for an overhaul. It follows yesterday's release of the Commission's 5-yearly review of Australia's economic policies. Earlier in the week, Treasurer Jim Chalmers said it was time to modernise how productivity is measured, as the structure and remit of the Commission had not changed in 25 years. Productivity Commission Chair Michael Brennan says they're open to the government's ideas.
It's always appropriate, I think, for governments to have a look at the sort of architecture, the key economic institutions. Are they operating at maximum effect? Of course, we want to make sure that we're a highly effective and influential contributor to the policy debate.
New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet says investigations continue after millions of fish were found dead at Menindee in western New South Wales. The fish were found at the main weir on the Darling River yesterday. The Premier says regional communities have been dealing with big challenges following recent hot weather and floods.
We've seen through the flooding that hasn't just had impacts on our roads, it's had impacts on our river systems as well.
The first signs of Japanese encephalitis activity in WA have been detected in feral pigs in a remote area of the northern Kimberley. The WA Health Department says it made the discovery through retrospective testing of antibody samples collected from pigs in October last year. The virus is transmitted to humans and animals by infected mosquitoes. People residing in high-risk areas of the Kimberley may be eligible for a vaccination against the virus. Human cases of the virus were reported over the summer in New South Wales, Victoria and South Australia. The Prime Minister will welcome his Samoan counterpart to Australia next week. In a statement, Anthony Albanese says the two countries will discuss ways to strengthen regional cooperation in support of a peaceful Pacific. He also says Australia is committed to working with Samoa to address climate change. Heading overseas, where Russia says it will extend a deal that allows Ukraine to export grain and expires today, but only for half the original 120 days. Sam Wilkinson reports.
The UN's humanitarian chief says extending the deal is crucial to ensure global food supplies and keeping prices from spiralling as they did after Russia invaded. Now, Russia's UN ambassador says Moscow is ready to extend the deal, but only for 60 days. The deal, brokered between Russia and Ukraine by the UN and Turkey, allows Ukraine, one of the world's key bread baskets, to ship food and fertilizer from 3 of its Black Sea ports. Under the initiative, millions of tons of foodstuff has been exported, including food aid to support humanitarian operations in Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Kenya, Somalia and Yemen.
Genetic material collected at a Chinese market near where the first human cases of COVID-19 were identified shows raccoon dog DNA commingled with the virus. The samples were collected from surfaces at the seafood market in early 2020 in Wuhan. A group of international experts says it could suggest the pandemic may have originated from animals and not a lab. Other experts have not yet verified their analysis, and it's yet to appear in a peer-reviewed journal. Protesters have taken to the streets of Paris to demonstrate against the French government's plan to raise the retirement age. Demonstrations started peacefully around a bonfire in a central square, although there were late scuffles with police. The protesters want lawmakers to bring down President Emmanuel Macron's government and doom the unpopular laws, which he's trying to impose without a vote in the National Assembly. Mr. Macron wants to make the French work 2 more years until the age of 64 before receiving a full pension. And experts believe thousands of people may have lost their savings after investing in a cryptocurrency trading app called iEarnBot. Investigators say it could be one of the largest crypto scandals so far. You're up to date with the latest ABC News. For more news at any time, you can download the ABC Listen app.
Simone Young is one of the most talented conductors of her generation.
When I started, I faced considerable opposition.
Executive producer Kate Blanchett takes us into the world of one of our greatest conductors.
In 1991, there were no women conductors.
What does being a woman have to do with conducting?
She's not afraid to just be a boss.
Simone Young, Knowing the Score.
It is magic.
Tuesday, March 21st on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Stevenson just couldn't quite gather. Duggan careful not to give away the free kick. Powell for North to Greenwood. The hand pass away and the kick inside 50 was superb. As the kick from Phillips was able to find the leading mark. He kicked the opening goal of the game for his second directly in front. Steers it straight over the goal umpire's hat. Greenwood one down the tap to Curtis. Dodging and weaving. Sublime finish on his left. Taylor spins out of traffic to Shields. They're winning all the one-on-ones. Gets it forward to Zerha. He sidesteps an opponent. Drives it inside 50. Lucky the target or at the back. Curtis takes the mark. Steps out. Snaps on the left. And a second for Curtis as North Melbourne extends their lead.
Jones will come back through for the Eagles. Knocks it into the path of Gav. Handball away to Allen. Back to Jones. Time to steady from 45. Fires on goal. And he puts it through. Advantage paid. And Jones takes full toll and kicks the Eagles a much-needed goal.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Saturday afternoon footy coming to you from Docklands in Melbourne. As the opening round continues, it's North Melbourne leading by 21 points, 7-7-49 to the West Coast Eagles, 4-4-28. A 4-1 second quarter the way of the Kangaroos after leading by a point at quarter time. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Nathan Burke and Adam Ramanauskas are your experts. And of course, you can always get in touch with us, 0437 774 774. Your contributions always welcome throughout the weekend, and that'll be the number for the rest of the AFL season. So lock that one into your phone, 0437 774 774. As Riley's done from Pascoe Vale. Team, can you remind us what's happening with the Alistair Clarkson review? I can't believe he's coaching as if normal. We can't pretend that nothing has happened. Well, the AFL are going through that process. The hope was that it would have been done by the end of the year, and then it's been pushed back the deadline as hoping that it'd be done by the middle of the year. So Gil McLaughlin's still the AFL CEO, hoping to have that done as part of his tenure as the CEO, but he's looking to probably finish up around round 5 or round 6. So unfortunately, Riley, at this stage, we're all waiting for that independent process to take place. And for the moment, Chris Fagan and Alistair Clarkson are able to return to their coaching duties. David from Albert Park, great to have Nathan Burke part of the Saturday team, brilliant expert. Thanks, David, for your contribution. Of course, there's so much action still to come across the weekend. So after us, picking it up from the City of Churches, will it be Aaron Bryans? So looking forward to bringing you Port Adelaide and the Brisbane Lions. And isn't that a massive game in the twilight ahead of tonight? Melbourne taking on the Western Bulldogs. Corbin Middlemass and Jess Webster alongside Brendan Goddard and Luke Ball. Kevin Peterson on the boundary for the Demons and the Bulldogs from the MCG. And the other match tonight, the Gold Coast Suns taking on Sydney from Carrara. Of course, on ABC Radio via the ABC Sport Digital channel and now on the ABC Listen app. So many contributions from people who are listening overseas. So friends and family, let them know that if they're looking for their AFL fix, you can now find it through the ABC Listen app. And if you're out and about at kids sport over the weekend, it's the perfect companion to make sure you don't miss a minute of the AFL action. Adam Ramanauskas, Nathan Burke. So the Kangaroos have been dominant around the ball. They've been able to capitalise with 4 of their 7 goals from stoppages. So I'm sure that'll be one area that Adam Simpson will be focused on at the main break, with 7 more inside 50s. And the young Chargers of North Melbourne have looked pretty good against the experienced Eagles.
Clinchy, can you just have a look at the contested possessions total there?
48-34 the way of North Melbourne, Berkey.
Yeah, well, West Coast Eagles were last in contested possession differential last year. And was that quarter or was that the half?
That's
just
the
checking.
half.
That's the half. So yeah. They got flogged that half. I think they're down for the whole game. But West Coast Eagles were were last year with contested possession differential. So if you're Adam Simpson, you're looking over the summer and you're saying, right, where do we need to improve from last year? What's a big part of our game that we need to get right in order to be competitive? And it would have to have been contested possession, getting his players back into winning the hard footy. But the fact that they've come out here today and again been smashed in contested possession against a fairly young North Melbourne side, that's really poor. So if I'm harping on one area, if I'm Adam Simpson at half-time, I'm looking at my players and I'm saying, right, we need to win the contested possession. You need to get your hands dirty, whether it's a stoppage, whether it's a loose ball on the wing, ball on the ground inside the forward line, defensive 50. We need you flying in there and winning that football. And if we don't, we'll lose this game and we will get beaten by a team that most people will probably tipping to finish right at the very pointy end of the bottom of the ladder. So that would be an embarrassing start to West Coast, and that 2 wins that they had last year, we'll start talking about that again. And that'll come back to be a weight around their neck for quite a long time unless they can really make a change in that contested ball area.
Yeah, and you're spot on. You add clearances into that as well, Berkey, 21 to 11 in that category as well. So, you know, in the competitive part of the game, West Coast failed in that first half, where you look at probably their more seasoned midfield and you would say, well, that should be an area that they would expect to win in this game. Tim Kelly's been down, Dom Sheed's been down. You know, Shuey's played a little bit in the midfield, a little bit across half back. So it's an area that they need to clean up quickly in this second half to get themselves back in the game. Because if they don't, you know, North Melbourne were able really until the 26-minute mark when West Coast kicked their first goal of that second quarter, they really dominated that quarter.
Yep.
And they dominated it in the physical side of the game, which I know Adam Simpson won't be happy about.
They weren't able to overturn a halftime deficit at all last year, which doesn't happen. You only win 2 games, so you wouldn't think it would.
No, and I mentioned both teams. They do look fitter.
Yeah,
they definitely do look fitter. Both these teams, their run, their carry, their hit with inside the contest. Like the tackle count's pretty even, 36 to 33 in North Melbourne's favour. So they're pretty good numbers here at the Docklands. But it's just the simple ones, and you've got to remember, North Melbourne played that entire second quarter really without a recognised ruckman. Compton came in there. Hugh Greenwood was rucking on occasion. So West Coast should have the advantage around the ball.
Some of the North Melbourne fans have brought their banners, been back in the footy post-COVID times. North Melbourne far closer to a flag than wet toast. That's a little printed computer one that's in the front row of the cheer squad. I mean, it's clever enough, but hopefully they get better throughout the season. But it's a warm day in Melbourne. The roof is closed, and it must be said it's a pretty good turnout for the 2 bottom sides of season 2022. And the West Coast fans are at the end in which they're heading to the right as we see it, which we've debated as to whether it's the Lockett or the Coventry, and now Gill's big screens.
Very sexy screens.
Have replaced the names, but the Eagles heading to the right of your radio as we see it, with North Melbourne leading by 21 points, and you'd expect Adam Simpson would have given his Chargers a bit of a rocket at half-time. So what sort of response will we see from some of the experienced Eagles midfielders? Liam Ryan, just the 4 disposals, hasn't hit the scoreboard, so he'd be keen to get involved as well. So the Roos by 21 points as we head into the second half. Here's Ben Cameron.
Underway in the second half. Comben and Williams. Williams jumps over the top of him, palms it down. Kelly slips over for the Eagles as he gathers, gets a handball out. Cunnington goes in, always fighting after it. And we'll get a secondary ball up in the middle. Up it goes. Williams hooks it forward for the Eagles. There's a holding free kick. It'll go to Simpkin for North. So North leading by 21 points. Simpkin across the centre square and onto the chest of Powell. Powell skips back and looks at virtually every player in front of him. Now kicks long towards the attacking 50 for North. Barris launching at the footy. Down in front, Hearn roves it off hands. Gives it to Shuey. Gives it back to Barris. Stabs it short. And Campbell Chesser is able to mark. Haven't seen a lot of Campbell Chesser. Just his 4th disposal coming up here. Kicks around the city wing. towards Jamison. He goes up, unable to take the mark. There's Sheasel. We've seen a lot of him being busy in his debut game. Powell comes away with the footy, short kick. Hearn might have got in the back of Zurha, doesn't matter. Powell follows up, kicks North long to full forward. Comben able to rope, gives it to Larkey. Larkey runs in, boots his fourth. And North start the second half like they played out the first. Their 8th major. Larkey kicks the first goal of the second half. He kicked the first goal of the game. They're 8-7-55. The Eagles 4-4-28. A 27-point ascendancy to North 90 seconds into this second half.
Well, Larkey kicked 6 against West Coast last year.
Yeah.
Well, I'm tipping he's probably going to beat that this quarter. And a bit of a worry for West Coast Eagles is that after that little contest down there, it was McGovern signalled over to the bench. He required the physio to come out and look at his left shoulder, which he's sort of carrying in a little bit ginger. So if he goes down, well then Larkey will definitely kick more than 6.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. The Kangas kicked 6 on the trot up to the second quarter before West Coast broke that thread, but they're back where they started North. Shuey gets the clearance of the Eagles, kicks towards half forward. Jones in front, brings it down against Goda. He's able to break clear and get the hand pass back to Luke Shuey. Turns and kicks inside 50. Over the head of Allen, looking for Darling, who juggles the mark on his chest. Deep in the right forward pocket, just a couple of steps in from the boundaries, only about 12 metres out.
Well, they finally got a clearance out of the middle and got the ball inside forward 50, where Darling, pretty good mark there in the end, took it on his chest in the pack, but getting the ball out of the middle and deep is such an important part of football these days.
He finished one earlier in this right forward pocket, just needs to repeat the deed. We know Josh Kennedy, now the man, can he step up? Snaps across the face and misses everything. Out of bounds on the full, which is probably harder to do than it is to score, to miss absolutely everything. North still by 27 points, Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Tristan Cherry is hobbling his way back up to ground level. He's got his right leg in a full moon boot, so that ankle injury has caused him a lot of problems. He's been down in the rooms for the last quarter and a half, really, but he's back on deck now to watch the rest of the game.
Zeeble at fullback, goes short to Goda, who Adam Ramanauskas has been impressed with. Goda goes short. And the mark taken by McDonald at left half back for North. On his left boot, tries to wait a kick to the wing. Getting in front of Simpkin is Shuey. Can't complete the mark. O'Neill able to mop it up there for the Eagles. Goes back to Shuey, runs into trouble. Just gets it away from Davies-Uniacke to Kelly. And now he goes back to McGovern, who kicks the Eagles towards half forward. Allen goes up, 2 bites at it, no mark taken. There to row for the Eagles is Gaff, gives it off to Kelly, stabs it on his left boot inside 50. Sheasel bobs up, takes the defensive mark for North.
Possession number 18 for the debutant, pick 3. Sends it out to Stevenson, who gathers just outside the defensive 50 at half-back. Works the hand pass over the top, around Cheeser. And now to Shields, whose kick is not a good one. And intercepting it is Witherden for the West Coast Eagles. Hand pass centre wing to Jones. Wider still for Jaden Hunt, and that's out on the full as well. So
hasn't hit
the highest of standards in the last minute or so. You have a go, Ben. See if you can lift our spirits.
They've come out at half-time a little bit sleepy, both teams.
Might have been doing their meditation, Berkey.
Yeah.
Zeeble kicks towards left half back, and Goda's able to take the mark. Now draws the man Ryan. Handball attempted to go over the top of him, knocked down back to him. Goda follows up. Now kicks North towards half forward. Zurha rising up. Able to fist it away as McGovern out of play, and we'll get a throw in left half forward for the Eagles. 8-7-55. Sorry, left half forward for North. 8-7-55. They lead the Eagles 4-4-28, 5 minutes into the third.
Ball spinning back into play. Williams in front of Greenwood with Tristan Cherry already subbed out. Phillips into the action. Jack Petrocelli, the sub for West Coast, not used as yet. Cunnington couldn't pick it up, but he becomes the tackler. Knocks the footy underneath Andrew Gaff, and the umpire will ball it up. Still at left half forward for North, who lead by 27 points. The only goal so far of the third quarter. Williams wins down the tap. Kelly can't take it cleanly. Tries to bounce into Davies-Uniacke, but it's Sheasel who gets another disposal. Kicks inside 50. And Jeremy McGovern takes intercepting mark against Zurha. Short to Gaff at right half back.
So Gaff able to take the mark, and just cruise back. Doesn't have anything he likes just yet. But right half back here for the Eagles, so he'll just load up and go long in the Darling direction, launches at the footy and takes the mark. Virtually uncontested in the end. Bites off the kick into the middle, dangerous, just finds Witherden. Witherden gives it off quickly to McGovern, his kick, charged down by Zerha. Comben out the back, he'll run onto it, will it sit for him? It's bouncing, sticks his boot out, soccers it through. Comben with the soccer skills. And the Kangas are bouncing away with this one. They lead by a game-high 33 points. 9-7-61. West Coast 4-4-28. 6 minutes 40 into the third term on Grandstand AFL. Nathan Burke and Adam Ramanauskas.
Well, it was a dangerous kick by Darling, and it got to Witherden. I'm not sure what McGovern was thinking with this little chip kick. Either handball it or try run around, and then the kick goes back inside forward 50 to Comben and nobody else. It was simply just a matter of him getting a boot on the ball. Zerha was able to intercept through McGovern, but it was a poor error, poor decision by Jeremy McGovern in the middle of the ground.
Caught one to the midriff in the second quarter, Charlie Comben, but didn't enjoy that, getting boots a ball and his first goal of the match. Williams got the clearance, couldn't get a kick away. He will get a free kick for in the back. Oh, gee. Could have almost been prior opportunity, but the umpire said he was pushed in the back in the process, so we'll take the free kick. North have pushed numbers back. Drives a long kick in the direction of Ryan and Oscar Allen. Up went Ryan, could complete the mark. Kelly the Crummer snaps the goal. Just a couple of metres out. And the instant response to West Coast, just as it ballooned out to 33 points, it was looking really imposing. It's back to 27 points. 9-7-61 North Melbourne to West Coast 5-4-34. We played 8 minutes in the third term on ABC Sport.
And that's what they need from Tim Kelly. He left Geelong with a moniker of one of the best midfielders in the competition. They didn't want to lose him, wanted to go back home, and he was one of the premier midfielders running around. Last year he was average. So far today he's been an average midfielder, but for West Coast to get back into this game, he needs to elevate himself over these other midfielders, really take the game by a bit of a scruff of the neck, and not only just get on the end of some easy goals like that, but also win the ball out of the middle here, because that's what they need. They need their senior leaders to stand up.
Just 13 disposals for him and 3 clearances. He wins it here at ground level. Handball to Gaff, who's tackled quickly. A secondary ball up in the middle. 27 points, North Melbourne's advantage. Williams and Comben both with hands on it. Davies Uniacke somehow gets a handball out. Powell coming through. Handball away, and then a free kick.
Attack by Phillips.
Yeah, Will Phillips.
Great attack on the footy.
Beelined it and wins a free kick. Goes short to Bergman on the logo.
In the pre-game, he was likened to a Sam Mitchell type of player. He does have the little short legs.
Bergman wants to chip it inside, attacking 50, and almost all alone Comben. He completes the mark, 45 metres out, directly in front.
Well, his direct opponent at the moment is Bailey Williams in the ruck. Bailey Williams was flat-footed. He just stood there. Didn't even go in the contest with Comben.
So he's done it from the goal line with a soccer. A volley out of midair. Can he do it with the set shot from the centre square? Will they boot the ball from just outside 50? Trots in. Comben sends it on its way, and it's marked on the line by guess who? Larky's got it again in the goal square. He'll line up straight in front, and he loves playing against the West Coast Eagles.
When you let the other team let you mark the ball on the goal line.
Bailey Williams again.
I'd love to play against him.
Larky comes in, pops it through. He's got a high five. And North Melbourne reinstate the game-high lead of 33 points. 10-7-67, plays 5-4-34. That's not Nick Larky, that's the West Coast Eagles boogeyman dressed up in blue and white.
Just watch Kelly and Hearn, sorry, Rammer, very quickly, come to the bench. They look defeated. Their shoulders were slumping, they were down, their heads were down. They look shot. And that's poor from leaders.
Yeah. And I'm looking at Bailey Williams coming to the bench. If he gets on the phone and has a chat to everyone, because those two efforts, first Comden and then on the goal line with Larkey, he'd want those moments back.
Kicked 5 against West Coast last year, 7 against the Sydney Swans in his 38 goals. Nick Larkey last season. He could be in for a big afternoon. Comden in the middle against Jamison. Big tackle being laid by Ginby. A chance for Zurha, who's having a run in the middle. He knocks it out to Simpkin. Hand pass to Phillips. Trying to link up with Comden. Hand pass to Shields out on the wing. Now to Zeeble. Turns and kicks inside 50. Looking for Greenwood. Almost took the mark. Witherden's down. Running onto it. Powell, the shot on goal. Misses to the left-hand side. And through for a minor score. North out to a game-high 34-point lead. And tick past 12 minutes gone in the third term.
That's where we need the North supporters to really get up and about here. There's a little bit of a lull. They're 30 points up. If they put the foot down now and be 50 points up before you know it, they could have a huge win here. So, Kangas supporters, if you can hear us, get behind them.
Duggan with a long kick in towards the wing. Free kick going North Melbourne's way.
Initially, he was going to call holding the ball, the umpire. He just saw Long go into the back of Goda in the end.
Bergman gives it off to Simpkin, who's run down by Ryan holding the ball. Simpkin just a little unawares. And he's caught, so Ryan to have it for the Eagles. Trying to spark something. Can be a spark plug player for the Eagles. He kicks into the middle of the ground. Dangerous, but Cole gets there.
Go and get that one, Berkey.
Cole wants to send it out towards the city wing. Shuey's able to mark.
Here's the thing. So Tommy Cole takes that mark in the middle of the ground. They've actually gone backwards from where Liam Ryan won the free kick.
And now Ryan will mark the kick from Barras, virtually where they started. He goes forward around the dockside wing and spots up the chest of Xavier O'Neill. The Eagles need a goal soon.
He's at right half forward with North Melbourne, leading by 34 points. O'Neill sends it towards Darling. Allen's there as well. The North defenders rise. Bonner taps it down. Lowe gathers. Cripps gathers him. Locks it in the right forward pocket for the West Coast Eagles.
When you win the ball in the middle of the ground at the Docklands, you've got to go. You catch the defenders out very quickly here.
Greenwood, one down the tap. Ginby snaps on the left. It's across the face, just missing to the left-hand side. Hasn't had a whole heap of the footy. Picked 9 in last year's draft. Reuben Ginby, but that was a great chance to try and finish. 7 disposals. He has had 8 tackles, it must be said.
I like what he did below his knees then. He moved through the stoppage, got on his bike, really one grab clean below his knees. The snap just missed, but the groundwork was really good.
Zeeble with the kick in, goes long towards the wing, trying to stick his fist through it. McGovern comes down in front. Xavier O'Neill gang tackled by about 3 roos, and he'll get to his feet. A ball up between wing and half forward for the Eagles. Greenwood doing the ruck work, wins the tap down, spills to Phillips. Handball back to Greenwood. Long gets in there for the Eagles. He's held without it. And he'll get a free kick.
No, I think it's gone
other way.
Melbourne.
They go to McDonald, or Greenwood will take it, in fact. So Greenwood gives it off to Goda, who chips it towards the wing, and the mark taken there by Davies Uniacke. 10-8-68 North. They lead West Coast 5-5-35, a 33-point advantage. Quarter hour mark of this third term.
North's got to put the foot down here. Yeah. They don't want to just sort of go into their shell.
Go for the kill.
Yeah, now's the time. Really put the foot on the throat and get that. Oh, goodness me.
Oh, Davies Uniacke to Scott. He went for the kick. Powell might make it work. He's almost dragged down by Oscar Allen. Forced the turnover. Sheed on half-back. Hand pass around the back to Duggan, who kicks laterally to left half-back. And Cole takes the mark. This is where West Coast has struggled. Where's the run and the movement? He works it straight down the outer wing. Chesser takes the mark.
First quarter, they were getting overlap handball through this part of the ground. Since then, it's just been chip backwards. I don't want to make a mistake. I'll do the safe thing. Never going to catch up playing this type of footy.
And North are ready for it on the city wing, so they work it all the way back. Barras to Shuey, turns it over. Scott takes the mark. North look to reply. He plays on, looks up. Larkey on the lead again. 3 to compete against. Spoiled down. Barris did well. Racing after it, Stevenson. He's got a couple of Eagles to deal with. Trying to get the hand pass to Taylor. Now it's Duggan's problem. Taylor lays the tackle. Chesser trying to knock it out. All of a sudden the numbers are dwindling as West Coast had the advantage. Cole feeds it to Sheed. He finds an avenue out of defence and finds Jermaine Jones, who marks it left half back.
Jones kicks it into the man on the mark, and that's just sloppy. Off a step. Barely getting back off the mark. And it ricochets out for a throw-in.
And this is no dare in West Coast Eagles at all at the moment.
Boundary throw-in. Jamison underhands it down towards O'Neill. Coming away with it. Goes North. Here's Davey Juniak on the burst. Looking for a 1-2 with Larkey. Larkey spins himself. Doubles back. Gets a handball away. Cunnington on the left. Fires on goal and misses the set.
He's very lucky, Tom Barras. Stuck the leg out to try trip Larkey, and he's missed him, so he's probably saved himself a couple of dollars.
17 minutes gone in the third. 33 points, North Melbourne's lead.
3-1 to 1-1. North Melbourne's way, and they might get another shot here as Turner lays a big tackle, and Duggan has got his face planted into the turf. North fans thought there might have been a prior opportunity. The umpire didn't agree. A ball up in the right forward pocket for North Melbourne.
Certainly a forceful tackle. Would not be surprised if they had called that one an illegal forceful tackle, but was it?
Comes the way of Zerha, kicks towards the goal mouth. Chance for Curtis. It goes through for a minor score to the right-hand side. 34 points is the North Melbourne lead at the 17-minute mark of the third term.
Get the feeling just a little bit of composure from North Melbourne, and they can blow this game wide open. Just not making the most of their opportunities.
Cole in the back pocket for the Eagles towards the wing. Ryan leads up and marks. Can they start a chain here? Ryan kicks off a step, a little bit of a mongrel punt. Bonner in front, able to gather on the bounce. Off to Davey Juniak, who's fleet-footed like a ballerina. Twirls out of trouble again. To Tom Power, now Will Phillips runs into a dead end, loses it, holding the ball, and Ryan gets it back for the Eagles in the middle of the ground. Ryan will kick towards half forward for the Eagles. She takes the mark, wheels and goes, waits a kick to the pocket, looking for Allen. In front though is Cripps, and he claims it. 25 out, a metre or two in from the boundary line.
What I am noticing with West Coast a lot is Darling and Allen both get sucked back towards the goal too much. They don't become the outlet kick. So Tom Cole had to hold it there and basically kick to a small.
Cripps from the left forward pocket curls it home and keeps the West Coast Eagles in this match. They needed that, their sixth major, 6-5-41. North Melbourne 10-9-69. It's back to 28 points.
Now just expand on that, Bergie. So Tom Cole takes a mark inside his defensive 50. So then you're looking for one of your forwards. You're looking for one of your taller forwards to hit up. I look down the field and both Oscar Allen and Jack Darling are standing there inside forward 50. So one of them has to come up the ground, present, be a target, be the outlet kick. You mentioned it, Bergie. They've got caught wide a lot because they've really had no one to kick to. So they've got to kick to their small. So you need the work rate of a tall to come up, present, so then your smalls can get to the feet and start to move the ball a bit quicker.
Adam Rabanaskas with you on ABC Sport. Here's Lauren Borden.
Well, I think West Coast are going to activate their sub for tactical reasons this time. It'll be Petruccelli coming on and Jamison, the big man, coming off. So Petruccelli just getting ready to come on, who'll be part of the next rotation.
Okay, thanks, Lauren. So Williams will have to ruck the game out. Kelly gets a free kick, sends West Coast into attack. Ryan on the lead, can't complete the mark. Spills to the back. Darling, hand pass to Allen. Hand pass cut off by Scott. And Sheasel looks to the boundary line and finds it. A throw in the right forward pocket for the West Coast Eagles. Finally, some centre clearance dominance, but just couldn't quite capitalise.
A better forward 50 stoppage, though, the Eagles. Can they find a goal? Darling and Greenwood. Darling buffers him off the footy. Greenwood comes back, picks it up, squeezes a kick away towards the defensive arc for North. Ricochets back inside for the Eagles. Darling just gets a kick away towards a dangerous sort of position. Ryan picks it up, off to Cripps, back to Darling, jams it on the left boot. It'll tumble through for a minor score. 6-6-42 move the Eagles. North Melbourne 10-9-69. 27 points is North's advantage. 21 minutes into the third.
Harry Sheasel has the kick in duties. Another possession coming up as he kicks towards Taylor. It's over his head. Cole got hands to it. Couldn't complete the mark. Williams blazes away into the pocket. Allen against the boundary. It stays in. Can Ryan get onto it? He now dances around Potter. One way, the other. Great finish. Sold them all on a merry dance and finished with the right boot. And West Coast jam on a couple in quick succession to give them something to build on. Back to 21 points North Melbourne's way. 10-9-69 to the West Coast Eagles 7-6-48. And Liam Ryan, who's had a pretty quiet match, all of a sudden starting to get involved.
I don't know about you, Berkey, but that's why I come to the football. To see that by Liam Ryan. He sold them both, Sheasel and Bonner. There. It's just, he's been quiet. Sheasel's been his direct opponent for a lot of this game. And, you know, we've spoken about Sheasel quite a lot with how many possessions and the run he's had. But this is the thing now. You've got Liam Ryan back at full forward. So Sheasel stayed across half back. He's got Noah Long as an opponent now. Luke McDonald is the deepest North Melbourne defender.
Bounce back in the middle. Williams and Comben. No decisive tap. Going after it, Powell. Jimby over the top of him. Umpire circling and holding his arms to his chest. Two umpires converging on it. First week of the four umpires. Impressions, gents?
Haven't noticed them.
Tap down towards O'Neill. Gets a handball away. Hunt's quickly tackled by a few North Melbourne players and will go again. On the outer edge of the centre square. Williams laying it down. Davies Uniacke in close confines again. Finds space, snaps across his body. Hearn comes out for the Eagles. Takes the defensive mark. Defensive side of the City wing.
Wants to turn defence into attack. Long towards Ryan, who tried to get on the back of Darling. Couldn't complete the mark. Charging through. Hand pass came to Gaff, who got it from Long. And then the squaring up kick finds Jimby. He's going to give the hand pass off to Shuey. Through 50 as he got the journey. Allen flies, can't take the mark. Clean out his own teammate. McDonald for North. Kick is smothered. 10 metres out from goal. Scott back to North Melbourne's McDonald. He's thrown over the boundary line as Darling goes flying into the signage.
Jeez,
it's all happening.
Came hard, Oscar Allen. I thought he really took out Tim Kelly, but it's Griffin Logue that's come up worse for wear in that contest in the goal square.
In it comes. Greenwood. Double palms it down in front. Sheasel there for North. Greenwood goes again, wrapped up in the long tackle.
Just feel they've picked up their intensity, West Coast, over the last 5 or 6 minutes. Blocking the ball inside their forward 50. 9 inside 50s to 7 now in West Coast favour this quarter.
Greenwood wins the tap. Simpkin just hacks it out of there towards the wing. Witherden can't complete the mark. Holding free kick. Witherden will get it. Cole takes the advantage. Gives it off to Gaff. Drives it long. Not a great kick. Ryan goes back. Lowe drops the mark. Speeding through Jones. Loses his footing. Can't quite get it on the boot. Someone does. Petruccelli. The super sub sticks his boot out. And West Coast have 3 on the bounce.
We'll have a look.
Is there a free kick?
Free kick.
What for?
Not sure what for. I need a replay for this one.
Is it kicking in danger when the North players tried to dive on the footy and the toe poke there? I'm not sure that's the right call. If that's the case.
It'll cost the Eagles a goal. How crucial will that be?
Bergman looking for McDonald, can't take the mark. Darling onto it, everything's hot for West Coast at the moment. It kicks to Allen, who rises in front of Sheasel with a size mismatch and takes the mark.
I think he did play kicking in danger, so Petruccelli had 2 goes at it. The first one, there was a player's hand there, then bounced off that, then he kicked the second one through. So probably good justice if Oscar Allen can go back and put this one through. But I think we're seeing a little bit of inexperience here by North. They haven't been in this position of being 5 goals up for quite some time and just not quite knowing how to handle it.
Oscar Allen kicked a goal in the first quarter. only slightly right of centre. 15 metres out for his second, and to close the gap for the West Coast Eagles. 3 on the trot as they look to start the climb back into this contest. 10-9-69 North Melbourne to the West Coast Eagles 8-6-54. The margin is 15 points. Could we be set for a thrilling final quarter on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
This will sound weird, Berkey, but sometimes when a team's got the lead and West Coast are coming, it's better to get the ball back in the centre of the ground and start again. So West Coast, okay, they closed the margin, but they had locked it in. That ball had been locked in West Coast forward line for a number of minutes. So getting the ball back in to a central position, get your setups right again now, North Melbourne. Start to win the ball again. Potentially slow it down. As still 4 minutes remaining in this quarter. Maybe take a bit of time off the clock.
Crockett bounce. The umpire will want it again. Got their premier ball winners in the middle, North Melbourne. Cunnington, Simpkin and Davies Uniacke as they try to arrest the momentum. Comben slaps it down towards Cunnington on all fours, fighting after it. Simpkin goes in as well. Sheed over the top of him. And we'll do it again in the middle. Umpire puts it up. Williams lays it down. Kelly loses the footy. Through the legs of Sheed. Picking it up, Cunnington. Ricochets back to Sheed. Snaps the Eagles towards half forward. Races on. Logue leads Darling to the footy. Gathers it. And then stabs it short with composure. Good work from Griffin Logue. He spots up Curtis Taylor, and North can just settle. 15 points the margin. 27 and a half minutes into the third term. North lead.
The Roos got out by 34 points in this third quarter. It's back to 15. Long kick towards half forward. Larkey flew, couldn't take the mark. Cunnington's hand pass. Davies Uniacke thought he was held, but he didn't have it. Here go the Eagles. Gaff with the hand pass away. Jinby gives it back to Gaff. Kicks towards the intended target in Allen. He couldn't take the mark. Bonner spoils it down. Gets the hand pass away to Zeeble for North. Kicks to the outer wing. It bounces wide of Shields and Jaden Hunt and rolls end over end and out of play. Throw in centre wing on the City side. On the SMS 0437 774 774. Dave from WA. Great to have the footy back. Plus the entertainment. Loving the call as I tune in. And a little while ago, Liam Ryan came and rolled his eyes at the West Coast cheer squad. Says it all really at this point. I'm enjoying it. Snow more. It's changed a bit since the North Melbourne goals were raining.
He's been one of the Eagles that has helped turn it around. Williams wins the tap on the wing. Jimby goes in. Davies Uniacke able to extract it though. Cunnington out to Comben, and then they get it moving forward North. Going in Cole for the Eagles. Loops a handball over the top. Sheed clattered into there by Cunnington. And eventually Sheasel dumps it on his boot. Kicks high towards half forward. Big fly from Zurha. Ball spills free. Picked up there by Taylor. Chips inside 50. Hearn gets back. Slaps it away there from Stevenson. Out of play and a throw in right forward pocket here for North. They lead by 15.
Sorry, mate, I'm not sure whether Zurha's attempt was legitimate here, but I think the problem was that he jumped over his own opponent. His own teammate. So can't give a free kick to your teammate for an unrealistic attempt.
Toss back in. Williams got it down to Shuey against Comden and kicks up to the wing where Oscar Allen takes the mark.
That's better.
Darling offers the lead.
Darling up the ground, providing a target.
And then the kick inboard. Jimby didn't have to break stride. Can he get it over the top to Petrocelli? He does, but he needs to spin out of the power tackle. Hand pass to Hunt. Taps it to his own advantage. Gets it to Long. Jams it on the boot. It bounces to the goal mouth. The North have the numbers. It's worked out of defence as Scott receives it. A little toe poke as he works it to Sheasel in the left back pocket.
Just that handball to Petrocelli was behind him. If the ball goes in front of him, no one catches Petrocelli running back towards goal. No one in the whole stadium. So that's how fine line it is. Young players playing early games just don't quite hit the targets when they should. Cost your team goals.
Sheasel in the back pocket. Long towards the wing. Roving the pack is Zurha. Feeds a handball to Phillips. North go down the dockside wing. Bad handball from Phillips. Just what Berkey was speaking about. The Eagles win it back, and Sheed Peels off a kick towards fullback. Mark taken by Kelly.
Stevenson was out too.
Wants to shift it towards the city side of the ground. Cripps has to slap it on. It'll stay in play. North will get it back. Shields picks it up. Chip short to Powell. Powell will have it 60 from goal for North.
Get it in to
Trying
Larky.
to find the right option. Larky's the deepest against two. Barris gets back and spoils it out of play for a boundary throw and up against the left behind post.
He had Tom Cole as his opponent there for a moment. Larky was just a little bit slow. Getting deep inside forward 50. Barris come over with the spoil.
Larky has 5 next to his name. Thrown back in. Williams wins down the tap to Shuey. He's got more involved in this third quarter. Kicks out towards Darling and Turner. And Turner's happy to see it roll end over end and then turn to the umpire and say, was that straight to the boundary line? And the umpire says, throw it in. North by 15 points, approaching three-quarter time here at Docklands.
Umpire spins it back into play. Williams taps it down, but Bailey Scott onto it. He's quickly tackled. We'll get a ball up. 51 out from the attacking goal for North. Up it goes again. Williams down for Sheed. Sheed can't quite gather it. Knocking it on Shields. Sheasel loses it in a Shuey tackle. And he was held. So Sheasel will get the free kick. Mark set. Just on the attacking edge of the square. North getting instructions from the bench. Sheasel waits a kick for Larky, launching at it. Out the back it goes. Zerha trying to track it. Gets knocked over. He picks it up. Loses it. The Eagles are there in numbers. Jimby. And the siren sounds. The Eagles may be saved by the bell. But they do close late. They kick 4 of the last 5 goals in that third term to turn a 33-point deficit to just 15 points as we turn for home here on Grandstand AFL. North leading.
So what a grandstand finish we could be in for. North Melbourne have looked in control really since after quarter time, but the West Coast Eagles making their challenge in that third term, and it'll be a 15-point North Melbourne advantage heading into the final term. Coming up in just a few moments, a preview from the Adelaide Oval as Port Adelaide and Brisbane will be our next stop. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming via the ABC Listen.
ABC Listen.
So, what's the craziest question you've ever been asked on the Dr. Carl podcast?
Well, Triple J listeners are pretty imaginative, so we've been asked questions like, why do men have nipples?
And what happens if you shoot a gun in space? And how do trees talk to each other? The answer, of course, is the Wood Wide Web.
Carl.
Dr. Carl and Dr. Lucy have all the answers on the Dr. Carl podcast. Find it on the ABC Listen app. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Powell comes away with the footy, short kick. Byrne might have got in the back of Zerha, doesn't matter. Powell follows up, kicks North long to full forward. Comben, out a rope, gives it to Larky. Larky runs in, boots his 4th. With it and gives it off quickly to McGovern. His kick charged down by Zerha. Comben out the back. He'll run onto it. Will it sit for him? It's bouncing. Sticks his boot out. Soccers it through. Comben with the soccer skills. Comben sends it on its way and it's marked on the line by guess who? Larky's got it again in the goal square. Larky comes in, pops it through. He's got a high 5.
Sheasel has the kick in duties. Another possession coming up as he kicks towards Taylor. It's over his head. Cole got hands to it. Couldn't complete the mark. Williams blazes away into the pocket. Allen against the boundary. It stays in. Can Ryan get onto it? He now dances around Potter. One way, the other. Great finish.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
North Melbourne got out by 34 points in the third quarter, but the last 3 goals the way of the West Coast Eagles. It's a 15-point margin at three-quarter time. 10-9-69 the Roos to the West Coast Eagles. 8-6-54 with a quarter to play. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Lauren Borden, Adam Romanascus and Nathan Burke with you from Docklands. Our next stop on ABC Sport is the Adelaide Oval. It's Port Adelaide taking on the Brisbane Lions for a preview of what's to come. It's a very good afternoon to Aaron Bryans.
Afternoon, Clinchy. It's as high stakes as round one can realistically get here at the Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide and Brisbane, two sides hoping to take the next step in 2023 and finally reach a grand final. Chris Fagan labelled it perfectly during the week. He said, it's the pressure of expectation. A loss to either side would raise some serious questions, especially for Brisbane, about their credentials. And in Port's case, it could actually put coach Ken Hinkley right in the crosshairs. They met just over a year ago in an opening round thriller. Brisbane won that very close in the end, and Port Adelaide were left riddled with injuries. Kick-started their 0-5 start as well. So today it's a little bit of a different tale of the tape. The Lions set to unveil Josh Dunkley, Jack Gunston, Will Ashcroft, Connor McKenna. Port Adelaide's going to blood Jason Horne-Francis and Junior Rioli as well. There's so many storylines to look forward to, Clinchy. No late changes. Francis Evans, Jackson Pryor, the subs. It's all about starting the campaign with a precious 4 points. Looking forward to bring it to you on ABC Radio and the ABC Listen app with Neil Cross, Rod Jamieson and Josh Franco.
Thanks, Aaron. We can't wait to join you at the completion of this game. North by 15 points at three-quarter time. The thoughts of Adam Ramanaskas and Nathan Burke.
Well, contested possessions, we spoke a lot about them at half-time in that quarter, 21 each. So they didn't win contested possessions, but at least halved them up. And the important thing was, I reckon halfway through that third quarter, North were well on top. Eagles shifted gear in that area and managed to even up that contested ball stat and got themselves back in the game on the scoreboard as a consequence. Clearances 11-8 in favour of North Melbourne. So again, that was a bigger margin until the last 5-6 minutes of that quarter when the Eagles got themselves back into that. And what that enabled them to do was actually get the ball a lot deeper. So the goals that they kicked all came from 20 metres out. And prior to that, all their ball was landing really high up, allowing Sheasel and these guys to free rein to run the ball out of their half-back line. So once they got the ball deep, then the smaller players like Petruccelli was really dangerous, Ryan kicked a goal, Cripps kicked a goal. They could come into the game and ply their craft and get on the scoreboard. So really, really simple game plan, modus operandi for West Coast Eagles. Keep winning that contested footy. Get the ball in quickly and deep. If your big blokes don't mark it, because you're not getting out-marked down there. One thing that Logue and these guys aren't doing, they're not out-marking you. They're not intercepting. They're bringing the ball to ground. Then Ryan, Petruccelli, Cripps, these guys can actually do their work. For North Melbourne, it's a really interesting quarter for them. Do they go into their shell and try and protect 15-point lead, or do they say, you know what, let's really let it all hang out, get it out to 30 points, and then we can change the way that we want to play. This is unknown territory for North Melbourne, so let's see how they handle it, Raymond.
Yeah, they're not good enough to save a game yet, North Melbourne. They're going to go out and win it. So they try to protect. I think West Coast will create enough turnovers to score on them.
Both sides had the 2 wins last season. Who will get to sing their song first in 2023? Into the final term we go. Cobden wins down the tap for North, but it's Gaff who combines with Sheed. Shuey, who had 10 disposals in the third term, kicks to Kelly, long inside 50, Ryan the target. And he marks on his chest as Luke McDonald just slipped in his footing.
He just looks a lot more comfortable closer to goal, Liam Ryan. The first half he played a lot up high at half forward and got a bit lost, and Sheasel ran off him and exposed him. And now in this second half, particularly that third quarter, a lot closer to goal.
For his second goal, first in the final term, inside a minute, Ryan comes in and pops it through from about 20 metres out. And immediately it's cut to single digits. North Melbourne by 9 points. 10-9-69 the Roos to the West Coast Eagles, 9-6-60. Larkey has 5, Curtis has 2, and now Ryan joins Allen and Jones at 2 as well.
Gaff, Sheed, Shuey, to Kelly, who had burst out of that contest. That's what you want as a combination.
Ben Cunnington, I love you, but you've got to actually spread with your player. That was Tim Kelly running forward to the footy once he realised that his teammates had it under control. Ben didn't quite go with him. It was a Kelly kick that ended up hitting Ryan.
So the Eagles get the all-important first goal of this final term. Bounce back in the middle. Williams leaping high, able to knock it down. Sheed picks it up, gives it back to Williams. Luke Davies-Uniacke with the spoil. Greenwood picks it up, back to Davies-Uniacke. Run down though. Comben took a little too long. Sheed gets him. And the Eagles have it at centre half back. Witherden to Shuey, who runs straight into Davies-Uniacke. and he gets it back for North. Wants to go quickly. Kicks towards a vacant full forward. Bouncing ball. It'll just bounce the wrong side of the post. And through for a minor score. So North's lead back beyond single figures. 10 points. 10-10-7. He plays 9-6-60. 2 minutes into the fourth.
Shannon Hearn brings the West Coast Eagles back in, long towards Allen. He has to spoil with Logue in front. Hunt read it best. He hits it with speed. Kicks from half back to half forward. Ryan the target. Up against McDonald. Couldn't take the mark. Bonner's there for support. Hand pass to Sheasel. Under pressure back to McDonald. He's tackled across the boundary line by Cripps. This game has gone up in tempo since the third quarter. A boundary throw in at left half forward for the West Coast Eagles. North by 10 points. Ball spinning back into play. Williams will ruck out the rest of the match with Jamison subbed out for Petruccelli. He follows up his ruck work trying to knock it on to Jaden Hunt's advantage. O'Neill over around the footy. Turner for North. Hand pass to Cunnington. Feeds the hand pass forward. Worked it to Taylor. Now to Simpkin by hand. Kicks towards half forward. Condon was leading back. It allowed Hearn to lean up to the footy and take an uncontested mark. He takes it for West Coast at left half back.
So Hearn wants to go short for Barris. It just gets there under closing pressure from Comben. North by 10 points. Eagles have kicked the last 4. Kicked 5 of the last 6. Barris will kick long towards the wing. Williams in good position. Opposed to Greenwood. Greenwood halves the contest. In front, Cunnington to Davies-Uniacke. Nice little sidestep. And he's taken high. He'll get a free kick.
Yeah, I don't think that one was high.
A little late.
Yeah, I don't think it was high. So
Davies-Uniacke will get it on the wing. He'll kick inside the attacking 50 now for North. Going up, Barris from the side. He's able to take the defensive mark for the Eagles.
Both Barris and McGovern, when they take those marks, they take it at the highest point. They don't give anybody else a chance to spoil.
Sends it long around the wing. Ryan up with Davies-Uniacke. Neither got a hand to it. She's at the back for North. To Cunnington, almost dragged down by O'Neill. Got the hand pass to Zeeble. To McDonald under immediate pressure as he's tackled by Cripps. Big ball to be won from Bonner in the middle of the ground. Can't come away with the footy. And it's locked up with Cripps over the top.
Very good
and
by West
Shields
Coast.
over the top of him.
Great pressure. One of those handballs sticks and North Melbourne are out. They're inside forward 50.
Thrown up in the middle of the ground. North by 10. Greenwood one down the tap, but it's Hunt for West Coast. Kicks towards Oscar Allen. Can't take the mark. Logue spoils it away. Now slides in. Cripps over the top of him. It's knocked out in front of Shields. Got the hand pass to Sheasel. Good ball movement. Hand pass to Turner. Takes a bounce as he runs from half back. Around the Docks wing. Kicks inside 50. Larkey caught behind. And Hearn was in front with good support from Barris.
Hearn chips it short to Jones. The Eagles going up the middle. Witherden. He'll look for a leading Ryan. Finds his chest. Darling's on inside 50. Runs himself into trouble, Ryan. It's a handball away to Sheed. Darling leading towards half forward. And he takes the mark. 49 metres out. Right where the 50's painted on the turf.
He's got the distance.
Liam Wright starting to find some space where he didn't in that first half. He could be really influential in his way home.
So Darling going back as if he'll kick for goal. This would bring West Coast as close as they've been since early in the second. Close to the man on the mark from right on the arc of 50. He misses a little narrow. Back to single digits. 9 points, North's advantage. 6 minutes played in the fourth.
Sam in WA on the SMS. Sorry, Berkey. Love the stable listening on the ABC Listen app as opposed to the AFL app. So if you're out and about, best way to follow it. Zeeble straight down the middle. Kick looking for Taylor. Couldn't take the mark. Sheed gathers for West Coast. Hand pass to Duggan. Feeds it wide for Shuey. He wants to draw the opponent in Sheasel. Opted to go the kick in the end. Sends it long towards Ryan. Bonner works him underneath and takes the mark. 10 metres out from his defensive goal. Crucial one-on-one matchup. Short to Zeeble, who marks in the right back pocket He can chip it over the top to Sheasel. Possession number 28 coming out on debut.
So Sheasel, back pocket, kicks close to the boundary line, but a good kick to spot up Turner. North Melbourne's defence at the moment, bend but not break. Can they keep holding on? Turner's kick over the head of Bonner, but they've got cover there. Logan will come and pick it up, and he'll kick out towards halfback. McDonald's able to mark. McDonald called to play on. A little bereft. He's able to chip a kick over the top, and the mark taken there by Bergman for North.
We haven't seen North have to do this at any stage today. Just chip it around. It's a new game style for them. I like that overlap handball. Just create something, not just be stagnant.
Now Phillips sends them inside 50. Going back, unable to take the mark there. Williams for the Eagles. Barris getting on the footy. Sheed coming through, picking it up. He'll feed a handball back to Hearn. Hearn in the back pocket for West Coast. Low bullet-like pass. Misses Petruccelli. Skids out. And a throw in between wing and half forward. Now for North, they lead by 9 points. 8 minutes gone in the fourth.
Both sides had 2 wins last year. North Melbourne finished on bottom. West Coast in 17th position. Thrown back in, Comden. One down the tap. It comes the way of Scott. Jams it inside 50. Over the head of Zerha. Hearn could have been held. He'll get a free kick. No, Zerha's free kick.
I reckon they both had a good piece of each other there.
So Cam Zerha will take the free kick in the left forward pocket. He's about 35 metres out on a tightish angle.
It's waiting for a little replay.
Yeah,
this one.
Now Larky was leading out to the pocket. Both players were wrestling, and in the end, the umpire deemed Hearn had a hold of his arm. There's some questions as to whether he'd take his spot for round one. Cam Zerha has one goal to stead the flow for North Melbourne. A great finish in the left forward pocket. After West Coast had kicked the last 4 goals of the match, Zerha steadies for North Melbourne. It's a 15-point lead. 11-10, 76 to West Coast, 9-7, 61. We've played 10 minutes in the final term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, well, settler, no doubt about that now. Whether the free kick's there or not, it's more about kicking the goal, and Zerha is able to do that. Berkey mentioned just that slower pace. And they win the ball across half-back, then there's a couple of chip kicks, then it's the overlap handball and start to make it flow again. So good little tempo change there for North Melbourne. West Coast, it felt like they were on top. You know, we're nearly 10 minutes into this quarter now. West Coast, it feels like they've had more of the play, more of the territory in this quarter, but just a nice steadier there for North.
So a little bit of breathing room for North Melbourne in the middle. Powell emerges with the footy, takes a bounce. He'll now kick towards half forward. Fisted away there by Duggan. Spills to Larky though. Time to steady, snap, and kick away for North Melbourne. Nick Larky with his 6th goal, and it may well be a match-winning goal. North Melbourne 12-10-82. They lead the Eagles 9-7, 61, 10.5 into the fourth. Before Nathan Burke and Adam Ramanauskas, downstairs Lauren Borden.
Just a short clap of the hands from Alistair Clarkson. Really happy with the 6th goal from Larky. He's been a bit more tense this final quarter, talking upstairs to his assistants more often than the previous 3 quarters, but it looks like that one settled him down.
I really like the work of Tom Powell. He got the ball, centre clearance, had a bounce, brought the ball back into a really dangerous spot on the ground. Didn't kick the ball as far as he possibly could. His kick didn't quite hit the intended target, but it left the ball where they could mop it up and get a goal. And I think he's a midfielder of the future for the Kangas.
West Coast got within 9. It's now 21. Shuey gets the clearance. Hand pass to Sheed for West Coast. Feeds it to Long. Can chip it over the top. Cripps takes the mark. Touched off the boot. Oh, hang on. No, the mark has been paid.
I think it was touched, but the ump might have missed it.
Powell was signalling that it was touched, and I think he tried to convince everyone in the proximity, but the umpire said the mark was paid to Cripps.
No, it wasn't touched.
So Jamie Cripps out to the left, shooting from about 40 metres out. Has one goal already in the third term. Big kick for West Coast. Starts his approach. Cripps comes in. Good off the boot. Just misses the wrong side of the left goal post. And it's a 20-point North Melbourne lead at the 12-minute mark of the final term.
Very interesting at what point of this term do they try and win the game, try and save it. Shut it down, go slow, maintain possession. Certainly too early to do it yet.
McDonald with a long kick to the wing. Ball jarring around, lots of players around the footy. Jinby applying the tackle. And we'll get another ball up. Or a ball up in the middle of the ground. North Melbourne chant rings out around Docklands. Zeeble loops a handball over the top. Curtis slaps it on. Simpkin taken down in a tackle. Greenwood dives in. Spills out to Long for the Eagles. Chips inside 50. Cripps running back with the flight. Gathers on the bounce. Gets it on the boot. Ryan's free. Slips over. Still marks. We're used to flying Ryan. That was sliding Ryan. And he takes it 15 out. Virtually directly in front. He was cleaned up for good measure as well.
He's got the little tail too, Liam Ryan. Got a little plait in the back of the hair. Yeah, I don't mind that.
So Liam Ryan, a little close to the man on the mark, but he kicks the goal and the Eagles close again. 3 for Ryan. And the West Coast Eagles move along to 10-8-68. North Melbourne 12-10-82. 14-point advantage the way of North. 13 minutes and change into this fourth term.
Just a couple of little touches by the first gamer in Noah Long. The first one he chips over to Cripps, he misses the goal. He chips over to Cripps again. It's that, I guess, that composure, Berkey.
Yep.
Like a lot of first gamers in a pressure sit, they'll just jam it on the boot and kick it up high. But Long has just got the game sense to recognise, yep, there's a shorter target here. There's a good smart kick by Cripps. Tell you what, Luke McDonald made him earn it. There's no doubt about that. Ryan slipped over, but then Luke McDonald ran over the top of him as well, made him earn that goal.
Would have liked the Eagles to get a tad more excited.
Yes.
Once he kicked the ball, there was just nothing.
Back in the middle, Comden one down the tap for North, but it's Sheed who gets the clearance. Hand pass to Kelly, sends West Coast to half forward. O'Neill got rid of his opponent. Bergman wins the footy. Off balance, high kick inside 50. Allen's there, can't take the mark. At the back, Jones onto it. Feeds the hand pass to Cripps, to Long. Here he is into the open goal.
Now they're excited.
Noah Long with his first goal in AFL footy, and what a time to arrive. As it goes from 14 points to 8 points, and here come the resurgent West Coast Eagles. 12-10-82 North Melbourne to West Coast 11-8-74. 15 minutes gone, final term, and they come from everywhere on the ground to celebrate with Noah Long.
Centre clearance, Berkey, and then Xavier O'Neill. Just that critical contest against Bergman, able to nudge him under the ball and get it in Long again inside forward 50. A great contest by Oscar Allen, composure by Jermaine Jones to give that little handball, just that little one, and just gets it West Coast out into space. But it's the work back in the middle of the ground now. It's probably where, not having that ruckman late in the game is starting to hurt him. But in saying that, Dom Sheed's in the ruck now.
I think they've mucked things up here. The umpire said, hey, you've...
666 warning.
Yeah.
Up it goes in the middle. Sheed does try to contest it. Slapped away. Cunnington trying to get onto the footy. Can't quite bend over and pick it up. North to half forward. Jinby there with him. Comben knocks it out. Davies Uniacke feeds it to Scott. Runs to 50. Goes whacking. Misses away to the right. Didn't quite get it spinning like a perfect drop punt. North's lead 1.5 goals. They're 9 points out. 16 minutes played in this fourth term.
Well, Bailey Williams is on the bench. They're trying to get him back on, so they have a ruck.
And plays on, runs his full measure, Long towards Allen, can't take the mark. Long growing in confidence, read it well, hand pass to Petrocelli, set him up, shackled to the turf by Comden, knocks it on to Davies Uniacke, hand pass back inboard to Scott, bounces off Petrocelli, back to Long, it's a tough footy to win. Duggan into Turner, who lays a big tackle. Phillips feeds the hand pass to Curtis, hand pass to Davies Uniacke, kicks to the top of the square, Lucky the target, McGovern dropped the mark, Still a chance to regather. He feeds the hand pass back to Hearn. Couple of metres out from his defensive goal. Gets the hand pass away to Barris. Long out of defence. Underneath it, Comben had it spoiled away. It spills away at Bonner. Hand pass away to Goda. Feeds it to McDonald. They reload and go again. Lucky the target. Got underneath it. McGovern hit the ground hard. Kelly for West Coast, didn't clear, still a chance. Phillips to Cunnington, kicks towards the teeth of goal. Zerha can't complete the mark. McGovern goes for a fourth or fifth time. Desperation over the footy. They turn it at the umpire, and he'll ball it up.
Because that was a poor handball by Tim Kelly. Gaff was out and through, and it was just behind him.
Up goes Comben. Comes down. And takes it out of the ruck, throwing it on the boot. He misses away to the right.
Right idea.
Yeah, he's done some athletic things.
It's almost, not quite, but Daniel Wells.
Well, I think when you look at Comben, him and Larky as forwards together, I think works.
Yeah.
It looks good. They've been screaming out for another forward, North Melbourne, and Comben looks like that.
Hearn into Duggan, up the wing, looking for Williams, fly in front, Comben, knocked it down. Williams has another go, Petruccelli can't knock it out. Goda got it to Cunnington, tackled by a couple of Eagles. And Jim, be careful not to fall on his back. Neil in Coburg.
He is paying it now.
There is hope at North, but geez, it's nerve-wracking. For the Kangas crew, it's a tough watch at the moment. They led by 34 points in the third quarter, it's down to 10. And Ben Cunnington is getting the free kick in the end. He'll take it in front of the two benches. North's last win was against Richmond back in round 18. West Coast defeated the Bombers in Perth back in round 15. It's been slim pickings for both sides with just the 2 wins last year. Back to Griffin Logue on half-back. He now spots up Sheasel. Looks up towards Curtis, it won't get to him. Ginby takes the mark for West Coast at left half-back.
And the Eagles bench is holding up a big sign which is just green. On the back of it, it's got red. I imagine that means go. Jimby kicks forward of the wing, looking for Darling. He can't mark. Out of play, a throw in.
So Sheasel's up to 30 possessions in his first game.
Really good defensive sprawl then too. That's as important as 3 or 4 possessions.
He missed that kick. He kicked it straight to Ginby.
He's a competitor. He gets angry with himself too. And if anyone doesn't give him the footy, he lets them know.
Throw in on the wing. Bailey Williams crawling after it after the ruck tap. Gaff, handball too hot for Kelly. Soccering it forward there is Taylor for the Roos. Nice pick up, Zerha. Gives it away to Phillips. Bounce, running inside 50. Time to steady to us the game. No. He misses to the right. And he lets the Eagles live for now. 11 points. North's advantage. 2 goals the Eagles need.
There was a little bit of Thursday night about it that he had. Larky on the lead, took the bounce, had to have the shot. The kick out of defence from Witherden. It's spoiled away by Siebel.
Free kick.
And it's going to be a North Melbourne free kick. It's going the way of Bergman, who was impeded, apparently held in the marking contest. And O'Neill is have to be explained by the umpire what he did wrong. Bergman pokes it over the top, but misses Simpkin. Everyone's looking at the umpire. It is play on. Simpkin is going to retreat back to Bergman, has to jam it on the boot. He'll put it close to the boundary and it's out on the full.
Very tight kick there by Bergman. He's cramping over that city side of the ground now.
It's a young long, Kangaroos.
Yeah, it's a long way to run to the interchange bench from there.
Over 30 degrees in Melbourne on this Saturday afternoon, so both teams will be feeling it. Witherden for the West Coast Eagles over the head of Oscar Allen. O'Neill tries to slap it forward. McDonald's in there. Ginby trying to knock it out for West Coast. McDonald has another go at it. Tackle, holding the footy. West Coast won't take the advantage.
So they'll get the free kick.
Zeebel's gone down with cramp too, so it's not just the young blokes. Fitness could tell the story.
Yeah. O'Neill goes short to Kelly.
They do look like they're running a little bit harder, West Coast, at the moment.
On the logo, Kelly kicks the Eagles long towards half forward, launching at it. Allen claims the mark, 51 metres out.
Got to move. Has he got the distance, Berkey?
No. He's put the ball on the ground and he's doing the shoelaces up, so he may think he has, but Darling's 15 metres out from goal. He doesn't think he's going to kick it that far.
Bailey Williams making his way into that goal square.
Oscar Allen from 55 thumps it long. It's offline. And it sneaks through for a behind. So the equation's the same for the Eagles. They still need 2 more majors. North lead by 10 points. 22 minutes played in the 4th.
So Harry Sheasel coming up to his 31st disposal. Just had a look. Nick Dacos had 27 on debut last year against the Saints. So what a good impression it's been from the young Roo. A chance for the Eagles through Jaden Hunt. Knocks it to Witherden. Kicks it straight to the boundary line.
It was touched.
And it was touched, so it will be a throw-in. The North fans leaning over the fence, applauding every act at the moment. The West Coast fans at the Coventry end, their cheer squad, hoping they can record a memorable win on the road. They trail by 10 points. Thrown back in. Williams wins down the tap. Jimby with the hand pass away to Jaden Hunt at right half forward. Kicks inside 50. Oscar Allen lost his footing, punched down by Goda. Bergman dragged down, it spills to McDonald and North. Back pocket, tries to link up with Shields, knocked it onto the advantage of Sheasel. McDonald just jams it on the boot. It bounces end over end, straight to the boundary line. Insufficient intent.
What else do you have to do then?
Stand by for the North fans to go Bunta.
He had a player hanging off him. It's opposite foot, along running at the boundary line. There's nothing else he could have done there.
So Witherden to take the kick for the Eagles. Long towards full forward. Big pack. And a strong mark is taken there by Logue.
No one. He said they both had it.
Both with hands on it. Darling and Logue.
That was a clear mark by Griffin Logue.
So a ball up. Right forward pocket for the Eagles.
Ryan's just come back onto the field.
Williams knocks it down. Paddles towards the boundary. Happy to see it out in the end, North.
What I do love, I love the passion here by the North Melbourne supporters. They're right engaged in this game.
Throw in the forward pocket for the Eagles. They trail by 10 points. North did lead by 33. Darling and Greenwood, neither touches it. Sheasel kicks it into his teammate's back. Now Jimby going after it. Jones picks it up. He loses it in a tackle, and North might come away. Slick hands from Sheasel. Too slick. Having to go back is Powell. He loses it. Comes to Gaff. Open goal. Inviting, missing. Golden chance goes begging.
That is tackle number 12 for Ginby in this game. He has just hunted the opponent all day.
Zeeble brings the ball back in for North to Taylor to the back pocket up to Zeeble. Zerha it was, couldn't complete the mark. Barris knocks it forward for the West Coast Eagles. Kelly couldn't take it cleanly. Still a chance for the Roos. Taylor tries to spin out of traffic. Could have almost been penalised. Simpkin gets it to Shields. Back to Taylor. There's some tie players. Kicks around the wing. McGovern takes the mark for West Coast. Inboard to Shuey. To the run of Cole. Ran into Turner. Gets the hand pass back to Shuey. Kicks across the 50. Looking for a target. Up goes O'Neill. Can't take the mark. Darling onto it. Hand pass to Gaff. Hard against the boundary. Centering kick. Petruccelli there. Flying in front. Greenwood knocks it down for North. Shuey, was he taken high? He was.
Oh, we saw a couple of those over the 2 games previously that weren't paid.
Powell's tackle over the shoulder, and Luke Shuey will rise with footy in hand and a chance to make it a 3-point ball game.
Yeah, so far this season we've seen the tackler given the benefit of the doubt. On that occasion, certainly the benefit of the doubt went to the West Coast Eagles player.
The West Coast Eagles captain.
It was high before he actually stuck the arm up, so...
Couldn't have the impact last year he desperately wanted. Can he lead by example here? Out to the left from 40 metres out. Shuey comes in and delivers. There's hope for the West Coast Eagles. 3-point ball game. Under 3 minutes to go. North Melbourne 12-13-85. West Coast 12-10-82. Who's going to take the points in this opening round fixture?
Well, Kangas, who they got there in the middle? You'd be putting Davies-Uniacke in there in the middle. You get Cunnington in the middle. You get Simpkin in the middle. And who we've got for West Coast Eagles? You've got Kelly and Sheed and the young fella.
Yeah, well, he his hardness today that he's shown. Like I mentioned, 12 tackles he's had, Gimby. He's had 14 possessions. He's been as hard as any player on the ground.
If you're an Eagles fan, there's time. If you're a North fan, hold on. They're holding on for dear life. Jimby receives the tap down. He's wrapped up immediately.
North have got to get players behind the ball now.
So a ball up in the middle. Williams down, trying to get it towards Sheed. Jimby, handball out. Simpkin just wants it more, comes away with the footy. Gives it off to Davies Uniacke. Snaps inside 50. McGovern going back. One hand to it, can't take the mark. Curtis onto the footy. Zerha extracts it. Sweeps a handball away. Turner, 45 out. Pulls it back to full forward. They'll all launch at it. Was the mark taken? Close to the ground. It's been paid.
Can't find out who it was.
It's Taylor.
So the mark taken by Curtis Taylor. Flying from the back. 25 metres out directly in front. And he'll have a chance to put this game to bed.
Big clearance by Simpkin.
Yeah.
Co-captain this year. That's what you need.
Through the traffic.
You want your captain to stand up. Absolutely vital clearance. Has to be won. And he does it.
Curtis Taylor comes in. Misses. He's missed to the right-hand side. Have North Melbourne forgotten how to win? I think the Eagles were great proponents of it last year themselves, but it's 4 points with time to go.
You can hear the gasp across the Nullarbor. Hearn goes long, straight down the middle. They're still in it. Power for North, trying to get the hand pass to Simpkin. Spills the way of Williams. He's tackled, holding the ball.
Yeah, just hold it.
North won't take the advantage. Every second is valuable now. And it was Hugh Greenwood who laid the tackle. He'll take his time to get back to his feet. West Coast will push everyone into the defensive half.
Yeah, you'd be getting it to the... This is the kick where you do want it to go to the boundary, Berkey. I don't think you want to go at, to top of the goal square, or you want to find another mark.
North by 4 points, a minute and change to go. Greenwood bangs it as high and as long as he can. Larky's there, clears Williams at the back. Hearn, does he rush it through? He's probably got to, he does. It's a 5-point ball game, North Melbourne's way, a minute to go.
It's going back up the middle of the ground, there's no doubt about that.
And that's right. That's where that ball's got to go out of bounds. Because Hearn's going to kick this, it's going to land in the centre circle. That ball goes out of bounds, well then it stays deep in their forward line.
Can the Eagles go coast to coast? Short to Gaff. Gaff long up the middle. North Melbourne have the numbers at the fall of the ball. They get there through Scott. He snaps towards the wing. McGovern runs underneath the footy. Bounce of the ball favours Turner. Coming up with it, Ryan. Tackled, loses it. Jimby goes in. So too Greenwood. Now McGovern tries to pick it up. They'll pile on top. No, eventually it comes out Simpkin. It dribbles out on the kick.
What are you going to do here, umpire?
Throw it in.
Well, I've seen worse paid this quarter.
Goda with a little dribble kick. Out of play. Time left for the Eagles. Can North hang on? 5 points their advantage.
So it comes down to this. Thrown in on the wing. Comden to the front, Williams behind, tap down to O'Neill. He's locked up by Simpkin, and Greenwood will be hard to clear it from here.
North got
17
Larky.
seconds.
Sorry, mate, look, North got Larky as the spare behind the ball, but that's dragging down McGovern as well.
Thrown up on the wing, free kick North Melbourne's way as Williams won the tap. It's Comden's free kick, and surely that'll lose.
They need to find one mark here.
Comden waiting till he's called to play on. Now he is. We'll send it long towards half forward. Zerha underneath. Barris goes up, can't take the mark. Heard at the back, the siren sounds. The Clarkson rebuild begins with a win at North Melbourne. They had to claw their way over the line, but they deny West Coast, winners by 5 points.
So join in the chorus and sing it one and all. Join in the chorus, North Melbourne's on the ball. Good old North Melbourne, the champions you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.
What a thrilling game in which North Melbourne fell over the line, but only just by 5 points. And Curtis Taylor will certainly be a relieved man. The Roos led by a point at quarter time, by 21 points at half time, by 15 at three-quarter time. The Eagles with 8 goals to 5 in the second half, and North Melbourne win by 5 points, 12-15-87 to the Eagles, 12-10-82. For the Kangaroos, Nick Larkey booted 6, Curtis with 2, Zerha with 2, individuals to Davies Uniacke and to Comden. While for the West Coast Eagles, 3 to Ryan, 2 to Allen, 2 to Jones, individuals to Kelly, Cripps, Darling and Long. We've got about 2.5 minutes before we head to the Adelaide Oval for Port Adelaide and Brisbane. So Adam Ramanaskis and Nathan Burt, some rapid thoughts and then the votes.
Well, North Melbourne dominated the game through the contest. Clearances 42-25, contested footy 150 to 116. A great game, great debut game by Sheasel. Nick Larkey with his 6 goals was absolutely sensational. But you look at that one of those last stoppages with Simpkin coming through and winning it. The new captain makes a statement for his for the club. It's a new club now, new coach, and that's what you want to do. You want your senior players, your captain, to stand up in those moments, Berkey.
And West Coast Eagles, you've got to get your hands dirty for 4 quarters. You can't just play first quarter, then go to sleep for 2 and expect to run over teams. They couldn't run over North Melbourne. They're not going to run over better teams. So for me, Adam Simpson, you've got to get the fire, the willingness to work hard back into this team, because they're not talented enough anymore to just beat teams purely on talent. They need that grit as well, and we did see it today.
So 2-6 for North Melbourne in the final term, to the West Coast Eagles 4-4. The spotlight will burn sharply on the West Coast Eagles and North Melbourne, who finished in bottom place in season 2022. Their first game under Alistair Clarkson. They won't be on the bottom of the ladder at the end of the weekend. The 3-2-1 for the ABC Football of the Year.
1 vote to Harry Sheasel, 34 disposals on debut, 2 to Davies Uniacke, and then 3 to Nick Larkey.
3 to Larkey, 2 to Davies Uniacke, and 1 to Sheasel. 34 disposals, 5 inside 50s, 9 marks on debut for the number 3 draft pick. So we're about to take our listeners to the Adelaide Oval for our AFL listeners, for Port Adelaide and the Brisbane Lions, while for our listeners through the ABC ACT, you'll be off to the NRL. It's the Titans taking on the Storm. What a thrilling way to start our Saturday afternoon footy. We've had a draw on Thursday night, Collingwood by 22 points on Friday night, and the Kangas by 5 points over the West Coast Eagles. If this is the first 3 games, I can't wait for the rest of the weekend. Still, of course, to come, Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs tonight from the MCG, and Sydney taking on the Gold Coast from Carrara. On behalf of our team, thanks for your company on Saturday afternoon footy. We hope you enjoyed the call. The North Melbourne side winners under Alistair Clarkson by 5 points. Enjoy the rest of your weekend wherever you're listening to us on ABC Sport.